Už je hledal, no, už je hledal. Tom, díky za 44. Let's go! Poppy ban. Já jsem viděl, že banou Poppy, já jsem viděl jejich drafty.
That Poppy would shut down. Meanwhile, Weibo respecting the Ivern Razor.
It's going to be taken away, and as we dive through this draft, I'm kind of thinking that there's quite a few things that have been already left available, with only 3 bans left to go. Something good is getting through here, boys.
And I want to pick up one interesting thing
Oni
with the pattern
banují
from Fnatic.
ty Ivern Oriana.
Aurora on blue side. Oh, and they're going to do it again. So that's one of the things. They had banned Aurora every single game thus far, which made me think maybe Humanoid and Arskurin are not quite ready with that champion, don't feel fully comfortable with it, because usually it's on red side to ban both the Aurora and the Yone, but
blbý, no, že musí banovat Aurora na blue side.
Also, if you are Fnatic, in some scenarios, maybe you want to try and go for a trade, right? Take either the Yone or the Aurora. Not going to be the case. Interesting that the Skarner is the highest priority here. I do think that in the right situation, this jungler can be really, really strong, but especially with the Poppy ban, I feel like the Vi power just rises up even more so. Makes a very proactive play
Lucian
as well, but looks like
whoa,
we're going towards that direction as well with that Renekton and Lucian.
And I love this because this makes it very easy for me, because even when I was casting Xiaohu back in the LPL many years ago, he was still the Lucian guy. And so I just get to go back to my roots and think this is looking terrifying for Fnatic. This guy is so incredibly good at solo lane Lucian.
Light
now
Lucian. Xiaohu Lucian. To je Xiaohu Lucian. Rambo.
A hover that I'm not going to talk about. Okay.
Rail.
This one time, I'm not going to be baited anymore.
Yeah, we'll see later on into the series if you know, Karthus or some other.
Well, it could work on the Weibo side of things with double very physical carries already.
Very well could. The Lucian though that you talk about for Xiaohu and being both a top lane and a mid lane Lucian for him. Different periods of his career.
Tomáš vypadá znuděně. Nebo tilted.
Jax? Nidalee and Zyra are kind of what you go towards. I do think with the
Zyra Jax?
You are not as reliant on setup the way that you are with Nidalee. But given Tarzan's history, I think that either would work quite well here. Jax being locked in as well. And yeah, that Nidalee makes sense. I do think that when it comes to the 2v2 mid-jungle, it's a little bit weaker.
Jako Jax tady, jestli Jax přežije laning fázi, tak tady bude broken proti Lucianovi. Renektonovi Nidalee, hej. Hey.
But Tarzan's Nidalee in LPL was insane.
Oh yeah.
The amount of punishment so early on too. So this already for Weibo just screams so much early pressure. I feel like this is a very
intelligent strat to go for against Fnatic, since Razor has been Auroru, hey.
You know, and one of the best players for this team, a really big part of Fnatic's dominant early game.
Yeah, the way that we talk about Nidalees is you need a Nidalee license. We have a few players that have them in the LCS. Tarzan is definitely one of the players that even when he was still in Korea was a holder of said license, but has only gotten better with time. So already a couple of bans come through here as Ashe and Ezreal taking away
MF Leona, což je fajn.
It's a very bottom lane themed as Misfortune is going to be picked up. Now Noah considering what he wants
to
do.
Je asi okay,
of the Misfortune. I do think that already there is obviously a ton of AD carry and bot lane bans, Ziggs also included, and MF does have a really solid laning phase, but for me,
byla by lepší Vi než Nidalee, ne, protože Lucian je mid a oni potřebují AP jungle.
Tohle
ale nebudu lhát, tady je to docela bad draft pro Weibo.
And the Rel was already stolen away, so you're not going to get the Rel combo with the Misfortune, so it's going to have to be another.
Je to takový Lucian na midu je takový, já nevím, no, sus.
I mean, Alistar is always good into Rel and can be good set up for Misfortune, so maybe that sort of angle.
Yeah, purple coming in the last couple of picks here.
Syndra je v
pick that we kind of thought was going to be more prevalent here at Worlds.
Ale Varus je takový susit. I když Varus je taky v pohodě. Jako.
But I'm confused by the Kai'Sa ban. Because a lot of mixed damage coming out of that champion, and I think for solo AP Nidalee, it doesn't have the same feeling as like solo AP Karthus or Zyra that are very consistent in getting that damage down.
Já nechci být zlej, ale Weibo intnuli draft je kokot. Tady Jax je mega good. Jax je mega good do MF, Lushna, Nidalee, Renekton'a, pokud přežije laning fázi.
Just destroy an AD carry.
And both these compositions, particularly when you look towards that mid lane jungle duo for Weibo and
Fnatic má strašně moc chain CC. A mají dobrý jako fighty.
The amount of lockdown that's available between Skarner, between Syndra and Varus, absolutely insane. Even if you're Leona trying to face check, that's really hard. I do think though that Weibo's laning strength is going to make it very hard for Fnatic to actually get to a point where you're ever to an objective first.
No,
and I think whoever falls behind early here is going to be in some really deep trouble because coming back is going to really require some major plays.
Uvidíme, co i u Jax, no.
I don't think there's a lot of angles.
Yeah, and honestly, the best part of Fnatic's games have been their early games. The later stages, you know, in LEC were a bit throwy, so definitely both teams fighting very heavy over that early prio.
Tak uvidíme. Měli 4 nebo 5 dní tréninku, skrimíčku.
And I actually think that if there's ever a game where you want to have that Fnatic thing where you get ahead early, it's a game with a draft like this into what Weibo has, because Weibo kind of have all of the power in the early game and will
Syndra není moc dobrá do Lushna,
I don't think the same is true for what Fnatic have put forward here. It's a team fighting composition, lots of CC. I think at any point in the game, you can find a pick and turn things around. Whereas Weibo, like, we're all in. Renekton, Nidalee, if that doesn't work, if that doesn't get off the ground, you've got a handbag and a kitty cat.
The only risk you do run with Fnatic if you do fall behind, although I do think their comp is definitely better just because of the prevalence of CC and setup on basically every single member of the team, is that if you fall too far behind against champions like Renekton and Lucian specifically, you just don't get to ever push in a wave. And if Nidalee gets fed, itemizing against her is going to be really hard. It looks like Noah is looking to go towards that lethality with the Halo Blades here, which I do think makes a lot of sense, looking at what you're playing into both these comps.
UI, nevím, Rafa.
And he's also looking to go towards the top side for the lane swap.
Už to chápu, Don Jax, už to chápu. Tohle je good. Toto je good. To mě nenapadlo z nějakého důvodu. A tady to bude i dobré, že Rel bude pomáhat Syndře proti tomu Lushnovi. Tohle je dobrý svá.
Just severely outpace the
Skarner
if you allow any of those extra ones stolen, so should be a
Mára Syndra, kdy naposledy hrál Mára Syndru, hej? Legit.
The only thing is we don't see Jun actually soaking any experience in mid lane. The biggest kind of change was that supports and top laners trying to get to their levels too, so they can teleport in and try and defend on the bottom tower.
30 years old.
Just walked over there with 0 experience on the rel. Feels like level 1 will be okay.
Yeah, but I'm wondering whether Weibo have a plan for this, right? Because I think if you see this draft that they put together, you're almost always lane swapping no matter what you have, because it's all about lane
Jackson,
Jax
said hard to dive, okay?
Is what I'm most interested in. So far, you can see the bottom side being cleared out by Tarzan, and possibly looking to just try and go for something here. Is a nice little stun from the counter-strike out of Oscar in there, but otherwise not too much.
Definitely somewhat of a risk taken, but I think you saw there as well. Oscar and June can play more aggressive the moment that Brief TPs towards top side. I don't think Weibo really would have wanted to look to try and make a 4v2 play. Not going to do that.
Marek Brazda. Level 3 trade proti level 2 Lushnovi.
The counter picker will see how much he is able to
Bacha jen na tu skurvenou Nidalee, hej? Ale co bude dělat Nidalee? Leží, co bude dělat Nidalee?
Right now, neither team seeming to get out too far ahead as Razor looking for a play on mid.
Yeah, he's driving through. There is the from Xiao, he does.
Flash something!
But still just comes through, and Tarzan diving onto Razov now underneath the turret, and it's a double.
Tiger,
my God!
Big Tiger now.
This is this is Shurkan. He's got Tarzan with him. They're used to that.
Proč fajtí proti Lucian?
As it turns out, if you just hit your Nidalee spear,
A proč neflashuje?
Yeah, I saw the scatter come through, the stun happen. I was thinking that's going to be time for like we're just going to back away. It's going to be okay. But Shadow going very aggressive.
I think there's very, very good, setup here by Weibo.
Proč level 3?
Ready for it.
That's one.
The spear already hit, so Fnatic knows
Oni
that
ví,
he's
že
there,
tam je
and they
Nidalee a
still go
stejnak...
for it. It's really hard to get a Skarner charge onto a Lucian. Xiaohu just goes straight in onto him. But you have to say, Tarzan spears, they just don't miss. And so, as you're saying, that makes it very easy to play the 2v2.
Kamo jebe jim.
Humanoid just down.
Oni věděli, že tam je ta Nidalee a stejnak...
But, that is going to be very hard, even with a flash advantage, to retake control from a Lucian.
Ty pičo, tak tady vole, kick Razor Humanoid, okamžitě. Za tenhle ten play na midu. Oba dva kick.
Yeah, right. Saw that initially, right? But the moment that first spear hits, I think you have to peace out. I don't think you should be looking for these 2v2s early on, because the amount of damage that the Nidalee and
to byl fakt bronze play, kámo, toto.
Gonna really outpace what, especially a level 3 Skarner is gonna be able to do. And realistically, Xiaohu, at worst flashes, but he should never really be in any threat on the Lucian when Skarner tries to look for a gank like that.
Yeah, and you just see the difference in skirmishing there. I mean, it's the mobility of Lucian with the dash and being very willing to instantly flash in on the Syndra, finish off this kill.
And we're thinking as well that this could have been one of the weak points. For Weibo as well, there's 0 CC, but there is CC on this bottom side. Crashdown going to be flashed here by Light. Creates some distance, but the Zenith Blade gets Crisp right back in there. Jun burning down, still trying to turn, finds a Shattering Strike. Back away, sharing some health bars.
Jdeš dneska na Mad Monk Party? Nevím. Nevím, kdy skončím stream a nevím, od kdy do kdy je ta Mad Monk Party.
But when you're playing against the amount of lockdown that's available for Fnatic, that is definitely
musel bych jet do Prahy 2 hodiny ještě k tomu, hej? To je docela dlouho.
Use it and get anything out of it, because just summoners being down alone, not really enough.
Man.
Ale já nechápu, proč gankovali ten midlane, vůbec to nechápu, když prostě Syndra vyhrávala 1v1, proč se snaží gankovat midlane, když víš, že tam je Nidalee.
Straight offense first.
Yep, Ricopo already in his inventory.
Pro tu prdel bys tam měl jít, proč? Já ani nevím, co tam bude jako na tom té party.
Just trying to build up these splinters, get to that point where you can press your gameplay button, which is located on R, and just force your opponent to not be able to play the game. Tarzan will be starting on these scrubs, and of course Nidalee pretty happily getting through those.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to get at least some of them here, but Fnatic have the earlier move with Jun heading over. There's no teleport on Humanoid, though, because of the early skirmish and loss. So now their mid laner is not going to be here. It looks a little sketchy.
Yep, 2 of the grubs already taken down. That was where Tarzan invested his smite. That won't be contested on the third one. So maybe Fnatic going to be putting a little bit more pressure on the next spawn.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits, too, of having Misfortune as your bottom laner. You saw Light kind of walking up very quickly with the strut movement speed. And once you see the bottom lane has also made the rotation here. No chance for Fnatic. So 3 grubs plus the early 2 kills for Weibo is massive for them.
Lucian
we talked about them really wanting to snowball with the, especially the top 3 champions on the map.
Je to bad a uvidíme, co těch 6 grabů. Další grubíci budou důležitý fight, ale ty vole jako mají furt shit draft, hej? A MF je dead, ne? Akorát Jun nemusel flashovat. Proč tady flashoval pod turetu? Jun měl normálně navolkovat a stannout. Kam oni všichni jsou B? Oni všichni nějak choukujou? Fnatic. Proč tam flashoval na... Kde to tam měl flashovat? Jenom pokud MF má flash, ale MF neměla flash. A vy víte o té Mad Monk Party co? Tady je strašně důležitý, budou ty další gruby. Kdy budou další gruby? Za 2,5 minuty. Dívej, tady MF nemá flash, prostě stačí navolkovat a dát kvéčko na MF. Proč flashuje s kvéčkem? Zbytečný. Zbytečný úplně. Že to jsou většinou spíš orgy než party, jo, takže PDD party. Mad Monk se nechal inspirovat P. Didym. Řekli mi tady, chceme mít taky white parties, jo?
Battle Leona. Exactly. Battle Leona is something to be feared, Chronicler, as we know. Tarzan going to be starting off the first dragon, though. We'll see whether Fnatic can get down here and try to contest. Looks like there is a couple in the area, but with Razor going home,
drak je nepříjemný, ale je to jako, tam bude záležet ty gruby. Za minutu a půl.
Necessarily need to lose your minds over. 600 gold the lead for Weibo, but I think to go back to what we were talking about in the draft, this isn't that bad, right? For Fnatic, they have this composition that can certainly survive into the later stages.
Tady bude fakt záležet na těch grubech. YouTube je ahead zase. Grubíky musí fightit, anebo sneaknout dva grubíky. Tady je škoda, že nevsneaknul aspoň jednoho grubíka ten Razor. Razor to neumí dělat. Když se podíváš na asijský týmy, tak oni když nemůžou contestit grubíky, tak oni sneaknou jednoho, protože ho reálně one-shotneš a pak utečeš a pak to uděláš znova u těch druhých grubů a jsi v pohodě. Tohle je good. Mysnuli všechno. Proč to dodžuje takhle?
Still massively successful gank there for Tarzan. Gets both summoners from Noah, and even though you don't get the kill, they're gonna be able to shove in that wave. Kill going over to Light, and Weibo with this Nidalee really trying to snowball the game as much as they can.
Graby za 30 vteřin měli by swapnout na top lane. First item na AD, Jomu. Ale nemáme summoner spelly, no. A Renekton je nepříjemný na těch grab fightech.
Oscar going to be seen there on the recall, but Breathe not going to force him away or anything like that.
One advantage that Fnatic got, because, you know, Jun died earlier, they have been able to get vision, set it up here, so they do still really want to go. I do think that the gold lead that is there for Weibo isn't by itself detrimental, but if they're getting cut...
Kámo, neintíme to, že ne? Neintíme to předtím, než před tím fightem.
Not actually going to bring him in here and Breathe with that ultimate, keeping himself alive for so long, almost survives, but doesn't get down.
Marek Brázda!
He's going to be traded through both players to go down.
Lucian tady, kurva.
Over and over again, you can see Razok down low, Jun as well, just trying to get out the crash down.
Hej, proč tady ale fightíme prostě před grubíkama? Proč, Razork? Proč? Prostě proč invadí enemy golemy? Go FF! Go FF!
Humanoid there, and that means these grubs are definitely going over to Weibo.
That is such a tragedy for Fnatic. Chronicler, Humanoid did flash.
Kámo, oni to tak chokujou, oni mají dobrý draft, ale to je disgusting, co předvádí. To je legit úplně, jak kdyby... Prostě borci, co tady dělá Razor na golemech? Proč? Proč si neveme Scuttlecrab, pušnou top lane, slow pušnou top lane, vemou grubíky, fightí grubíky, proč tam fight 1v3? Pane bože. Pane bože. Tohle je já nemám slov. Ti hráči to ranujou jak draci. Oni jsou prostě na tiltu ze scrimů nebo z něčeho, já nevím z čeho. Jo, se cítím jak tady ten borec. A proč tleskal potom?
So you thought he was going to play very aggressively previously, but now with the tenacity and the magic resist of your Merc Treads on top of your offensive ability to punish, this is Xiaohu unleashed.
Very, very scary. As Weibo with
6 grabů, tady je to borci,
on these turrets, it is going to be a disaster. 1 minute until the plates do fall down. We'll see whether they're able to collect any more of that money
Já nechápu, já jsem to říkal i Tomášovi, ale prostě mám nějaký background info, nemůžu moc líkovat. Ale prostě Tomáš má dobrou ideu ohledně draftu. A problém jsou hráči. A tady draft byl good, tady prostě choukujou hráči. Vemou 2 turety, protože mají 6 grubů. Můžou vzít 2 turety úplně v pohodě. Ale jako ještě lepší by bylo, kdyby prostě šli, já nevím, Ahrivaj, Rel, Rumble, vyše prostě nějaký bombo combo. Ale s tím, jak hrajou tuhle první hru, tak by mě nezachránilo ani Ahrivaj, kámo. Legit. No, nebo Nocturne Oriana, ale oni banou Orianu, Weibo. No je feedlay, ale no nic neudělá, hej. Tady je problém, že prostě Lucian je mnohem silnější než Varus, protože Lucian hraje na midu. Má víc goldů aj.
And then being able to translate that up to the grub fight is just kind of insanely difficult now for Fnatic to really retake control. Maybe when they get Humanoid to level 11 on the Syndra, because
zrovna tady ten člověk si nezaslouží nic, jo. Tady ten člověk je H2K dog shit. Founder of H2K. Tady ten člověk, cokoliv, co říká tady ten člověk, tak já okamžitě disjunct úplně prostě. Je to úplný čurák. My tady někdo poušť. To je ten 5.5k lul. Cápek legit vyhrožoval hráčovi, že... Oskar! Pome! Dobrý stun! Dobrý Syndra stun! Jejich draft je tak dog shit, že oni jsou 3k gold ahead a stejně prohrávají. Oskar! Oskarinho! Oskarinho! Let's go! Draft div! Draft div! Draft div! OK, Jaxi to možná... chtěl bych přidat, chtěl bych něco přidat. Možná Oskar má povolení hrát Jaxe. Možná. Kámo, Jax je tady broken, sleduj to. Oni mají 4 ADčka do Jaxe, to je úplně Jaxův dream. A to ani nemá finishnutý druhý nebo třetí item, chápeš? Nidalee je useless do Jaxe, Lucian je useless do Jaxe, Renekton MF je useless do Jaxe. I Leon je blokne skurvený stun. Leona nemůžete zastunovat Jaxe. Jax je tady úplně insane. Let's go, Oskarinho! Vamos!
Got the early spear that was thrown towards Humanoid. Also, the calling from
Okay, boys!
Without him really pumping out a lot of damage and Tarzan taken out of the fight immediately, wasn't too much that Weibo could do there.
That's a tough play to do as well.
Yo.
And Oscar on teleporting in.
Yo. Tady to začíná vypadat velice dobře. Ale problém je 6 grubů. Pokud budou dobře hrát sidelane, Weibo. Kam ale legit, co to je za dogshit draft od Weibo. Renekton, Nidalee, Lucian, MF, Leona.
And with the gold lead a lot more equal, especially once John has his flash available again. Like Weibo,
Fnatic outscame, Jax bude unkillable raid boss.
Initially setting the fight, you see if Crisp gets taken out early and he doesn't actually get to provide the CCs, no one should be okay here.
Dvě ultimátky, on si to waste clearne anyway, ne?
A lot of value out of the Edge of Night there.
Yep. A bit more of an attack speed build, not really going to be buffing up the Cullen damage as much as others could be for Xiaohu here. Still very, very deadly.
Yeah, I think it does.
No až 4-0. Ale dobrý, že si postavil ten Edge of Night, hej, to je dobré.
Later on too, because not only Noah, but also Humanoid, you know, both of the carries here for Fnatic have pretty low mobility if they don't have their summoner spells, and so Leona ultimate can set up not only the poke from Illusion ultimate, but also Tarzan spears. So there actually is a lot of long range.
Ale má na to nějak inti tuhle hru, hej? Musíme dávat bacha, Máro, bacha, Máro. No, Jack split push, Jack split push. Oscar, prostě normálně split pushuj, ser na grupování, hlavně negrupuj, farmy si, měj ten hej, hoši, až si Jax postaví Zonia, tak hra je vyhraná. Když to bude even a Jax si postaví Zoniu, tak můžou vyhrát Fnatic. Nebo měli by vyhrát každý fight.
Being able to have the split push, but then also set up for the objectives here with very strong frontline on the Skarner and the Rel just gives Fnatic so many more options in this game that looks like they had started to close because of Weibo's
Hovnu, postav Zoniu. On by měl postavit, co staví Trinity, co staví ty Jaxové Trinity a měl by legit jít full armor. Proč Merc jsou v pohodě proti Leoně Renektonovi, ale mohl mít Ninja Tabi. Sterak, měl by postavit Trinity, Sterak a pak by měl postavit Zoniu. Thunder Sky je taky v pohodě, Thunder Sky je taky v pohodě, hej?
And now you can see, I think for Noah in particular, as you point out, like even with Edge of Night, this is a guy that needs to be very careful with his positioning. But having a turn to go back to full Valley Varus is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Bit of a battle here, but it is going to be Noah helping out with his piercing arrow. Razok going to be able to grab that smite on the blue buff, and as we've just ticked over 20 minutes, it is now on everyone. Feels very, very nice. Fnatic now pretty set up for this dragon. It's spawned just now as we were talking about it.
Tady engage na Noah, bacha.
Still a fair bit of vision available, fair few traps available here. So Weibo
ale mám Miture, co děláte, Fnatic? Ano! Fight! Jo! Pane! Zaultilo! Jo! Jo! Rally je broken! Rally je broken! Skarner je broken! Jo! Let's go!
Okay, we can give up this Drake. Who cares? It's the first Drake. We can take mid turret.
Ale mohli barona. Mohli barona. Já si slumím mikrofon, ať neřvu tolik, jo? Sorry. A Xiao je starý kokotko, neumí dodgenout Lucian, Skarner ult. Ale tady to posrali úplně.
They do not respect it. He can't finish the turret, and he just
Kňaplo ho to za prdel. Let's go!
Immediately taken down.
A Syndra má shutdowny, 2 killy. Lepší mohla být jenom Jax, 2 killy. Lepší mohla být jenom 2 killy Jax. Jo! CEO Gamu kouká. Vyhraje, oni vyhrajou proti TL potom. Nebojte.
Tarzan wasn't ready, Fred, and if it's just Crisp, I think that's playable, but instead, Fnatic now with a gold lead.
And a kill lead as well. With a composition like this feels absolutely fantastic. Because Weibo, they were starting to run away with things. As soon as that bot lane fight happened, you could even see the split, right? Tarzan hanging so far back as Crisp and Xiaohu were looking to try and greed for that turret. I could hear the comms, you know, in my mind's ear. I could hear it. Tarzan saying, "Please don't die," and they were just still underneath that turret there.
Ear.
Yeah, my mind's ear. That's what I was going for. You know how you say mind's eye, but I couldn't see it. I could hear it. It sort of had to be my mind's ear.
I totally understood what you're going for.
And then
clearly I'm the problem. I'm sorry.
Tady mají dobrý draft jak svině. Ale problém je, že furt dělají hodně chyby. Ale Weibo dělají taky chyby, hej? Ale Jax negrupuj, split push. Musí Jax být strong. Jax, farm.
I traumatized you with that
You
one.
really did. I heard somebody else say it with you just the other day, and I was like, he's not berating him for it.
I really want to hear this. I feel like we need to focus on the game. We'll
Okay,
look back to this later.
We'll unpack our trauma later.
As we do see now, third item done. Noah on Lethality Varus, and Varus in general, but I think with Lethality Varus you do have a lot more innate safety because of the fact that you can use your range a lot more.
Jax si to bude mít Sterak za chůl, ne? Sterak tady je huge, level 14 Jax, OK, to je huge. Potřebujeme. Zapte ho! Ne, co? Slabí si ruce! Zapte ho! Zapte ho! Jaxi to, ne, Oscarino! Kurva, co to bylo? A mě jde fajty furt, jen hrajte s Varusem. Pane bože, Rel si zlomila ruce. Reálně, Jun to intí, Humanoid to intí a Razor to intí a Oscar no hrál dobře, ale teď to neintělo. On prediktoval, no, ale jako tam nemusíš prediktovat. Mohlo to být horší, mohlo. Hej, mají flashe, nechali si flashe, umřel jenom Oscar. Pohoda. Hej, pohoda. Nemají flash, Luč nemá flash, Leona nemá flash, Renekton nemá flash a jediný, co z nás flashnul, tak je Renekton. Hej, mohlo to být stokrát horší. Mohlo to být stokrát horší. Jo, on mu flashnul ten, ok.
But Oscar was fine. So he wanted to make the huge play onto Xiaohu. But as you mentioned, it's just a flash for flash trade.
Oscar už má Divine Thunder, right? Sterak by byl lepší, eh?
Also, even though you see how much CC Fnatic has, Jun missing stuff still leads to the Renekton going down. I'm pretty sure they can actually 100-0 brief there if they fully stun lock him, right? If the Q goes off, then the crash down, then the slam into the wall. Because a really big part of why that fight looked even close was Brief again. Already has level 2 on the ultimate, had his Sterix, and you saw how much time it took to actually take him down. But looking at the summoners, Xiaohu's flash, I think is a big deal.
Nemusí. Syndra, Varus, one-shotuje Renektona. Renekton je tady useless champ. Legit Varus, Syndra, když zasunujou, oni mají dost CC na Renektona a on má ninja taby, on dostane one-shot. Ten Renekton.
As Breathe pushing in this lane towards the bottom inner turret, Oscar will come over and pick that one up. Couple of items for the Jax already.
Syndra,
I think
Cosmic,
Breathe going to struggle in the 1v1 against this guy. I think it means so much for Fnatic with this composition. You mentioned already the fact that it's difficult for these less mobile
hlavně musí farmit, my potřebujeme Zonia na Jaxovi, anebo Sterak na Jaxovi. Reálně Zonia je lepší, protože jsou full AP, AD. Zonia by tady byla. A hej, on měl reálně jít Sterak Zoniu, to by byl dobrý build. Ale Thunder Sky Zonia bude taky po piči, hej.
See how well Oscar can channel Bin.
Tady je Fightos.
Tady je Fightos a tady je...
Kolik má goldu, bro?
It's a great thing to see here for Fnatic up against Weibo right now. Because I think they still need to hold on to that. They still need to not be afraid to just go in for these fights.
Poke, Varus, poke! Poke! Oscar, 1v1 Renektona. Fight jo! Konečně ho fightíš! Ano, správně, fight jo! Poke, Varus, poke! Varus, poke! Neboj se toho! Čeho se bojíte? OK, back up! Good! Jo, nemají dvě ultimátky, pojďme! Mid turret, let's go! Má flash, Jun? Se bojíme! Jax se moc bojí Renektona. Jax by tam měl rozmrdat Renektona na sračku, udělat si z něj kabelku, vole, nebo boty. Tady, když ho bude fightit, tak Renekton už vždycky prohraje 1v1. A teď nemají ultimátky! Fajtěte je! Oni měli, teď nemůžou fajtit, ale ty jedničku měli vzít na midu, potom co Leon a MF nemají ult, tak jsou dog shit useless.
These two Drakes for Fnatic, they're nice, but again, I think that as far as this was an Infernal, if this was a Hex stack, feel very different about this game. Execution still needs to be crisp here on either side, really. But Weibo is going to start reaching the point where, like Oscarinian, once he finishes his Zonya,
ale hej!
That's not a target that
Čtvrtý item Jax, nebo třetí, až bude Jax mít 3 itemy, anebo 4, staví Zonyu. Yes! Staví Zonyu. Až bude mít Zonyu, kámo, tak to bude po piči insane, normálně Fnatic outscale, Fnatic outscale. Jenom nesmí prostě prohrát hru do té doby.
So we'll see about the split push on bottom side, as it is 4-1 for both these teams, trying to battle over mid lane pressure first.
Yeah, a lot of power when Fnatic have Oscarinin in the Fog of War. Because the flank angles for this Jax can make things really difficult, because like you say, even dodging things that they can see right in front of them is going to be difficult, but when you throw a Jax into the mix as well with that circle of doom that he's going to be carrying in with him.
Syndra má jenom 270 AP, co to je za vegan build? Ale zase nemůže umřít, ne? Nebo neměl by umřít. A on dostane 5 stacků a bude mít to, ne? Na 15 extra AP. Fnatic outscaluje, jo? Fnatic hard outscaluje Weibo draft je tak dogshit, vole. Weibo draft je úplně dogshit, jako že já nechápu. Tady je to úplně totální outdraft, ale nechápu to z toho důvodu, že prostě Jax counteruje 4 jumpy, který oni ví, že tam ten Jax je early picknutý a oni si stejně vemou ty... Oni vemou prostě ty jumpy, co dostanou counterpick od Jaxa. Jo, jsou špatný do Jaxa.
Weibo have been losing resources with the Jax split push.
Yeah, Shahu trying to get in there. Chris with the flag.
Yeah! John! Yeah! OK, pome, jeden za jedno. Jun to zahrál. Jaxito! Level 16, Oscar! Level 16, go! Next! Skač! Kurva! Go Baron!
Maybe they get mid lane turret. We haven't really mentioned that, but the fact that it's still standing here for Weibo, kind of insane with how this game has gone thus far. No
dobrý catch na Lushna, ale Mára to najížděl zas.
A little bit way too deep.
Mára prostě, co dával za Ečko tady? Co to je za Ečko?
It's a story of two different engages, because you saw how deep Chris went as well, but there was no follow-up damage for him on Humanoid. Meanwhile, Fnatic have 2 members just
tady měl blok,
and so it takes a little bit longer for Weibo.
Hej, proč tady nemohl tady skočit deep? Jako tady Oscar měl běžet dál. Tady dělá Oscar chybu, že hituje tady ten target. On měl chaseovat dál. By the way. Víš, že jako neměl fokusovat ten mrtvý target, ale měl běžet dál Jax a bylo by to po piči insane.
Now Fnatic did have to invest their teleport from Oscar though, because Oscar was split pushing. So that is something that Weibo can try and
hey,
look to
tady
answer.
možná můžeme one-shot to, nemůžeme.
Use Breeze now.
Pretty big shattering strikes come through there as well, but not a lot of meaningful damage onto this turret. So Weibo is still going to hold on to their outer in the mid lane. I feel like this siege, especially as these Ocean Dragons start to stack up for Fnatic, should be really, really strong, but Weibo have been doing a great job defending it so far this game. Tarzan still just hoovering up his jungle as best he can. Crisp over the wall unseen for now. As Razok looking for Bree, the possible angle here. As Crisp with that Hex Flash up and available, channeling out, looking for an angle.
Máro,
the bullet time comes through as well, but it's not enough damage. With that culling laid in as well, I think in a lot of game states with a composition like this, Humanoid is instantly dead, but in the state that it's in now, he's doing okay.
He's lucky he's got his teleport, because he can just go back to the fountain, for the dragon fight.
Poke. Skyler face check. Poke.
Game that you're sort of forced into playing when there's
Nemají ult!
on the field. That is going to be the Ocean Drake being
Fajtěte!
half health already here.
Tady když vyhrajete fight, je to Baron. Jax go in. Jaxito. Okay, good.
Very difficult to get anything past him. You can see he's so
Flash,
incredibly
ult.
tanky, and that is going to
Barci, nebojte se toho, kurva! Ale ne, Lushna MF si měl jít s Jaxem. Jax! Jo! Zonia! Pojďme! Baron! Draft div! Kámo, to je takový draft div, to je neuvěřitelný.
But the ultimate from Crisp, the ultimate from Light that were used to chunk him out were expended, and so Fnatic have the advantage in the fight. They take the objective, they get the kill, and they're gonna take Baron too.
Ale Jax měl jít na MF. Ale nemá, actually MF neměla ult, takže good, že šel na Luciana.
Can TP in case of a crazy Weibo contest, but that's not coming through.
Nice.
And Fnatic, I think the expectations, particularly after some of their previous games,
not
going to be very high. But what's the key thing to me, outside of that one play from Oscar, they have looked so restrained, which is definitely something they should have given the lessons they've learned throughout the year. But it's, I think, the big difference maker in this series so far.
Certainly is, and coming into this one, when you don't have that Leona, Misfortune, or Lucian ultimates on the side of Weibo, they're just kind of standing around
škoda, že
watching,
to dashnul ten Lucian, ale good, že šel do Luciana, protože MF nemá ult. Kdyby tady měla MF ult, tak je to tady bad, že tady za ulti 5 lidí. Kámo, Jax je tady 1v9, champ, to je... GAM Fnatic! Nemá Račíňany asi.
And the inner might be following, although they do run out of minion waves. Still, this is so much control, and you can see they're playing as if they have checkmate. They've been playing like
Máme
that for the
flashe,
last
máme
10
flashe.
minutes. That could worry some people, but we'll see whether it works out.
But now comes actually killing the Nexus, and I think first getting inhibitors, right? Makes it so much easier to play the map.
I hear you do have to do that. There was a team that we had that got caught up with the whole inhibitor debacle. So yes, you do need to kill those.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Oscar má povolení pikovat Jaxe. Zatím. Je tam společně s Binem a se Zeusem.
Yeah, Oscar should be going back there, catch that one, so that they're at least playing on 2 waves, but they want to be careful. Weibo have been very proactive about continuously looking for these fights.
aby vzali tu retu.
From this point on, it is just so easy for
Whoa! Yo! Co to za image?
Fnatic have all the advantages here. They have an advantage in split push, they have an advantage in siege. Their front line is massive.
Mají dobrý poke s tím Varusem, ten Varus byl dobrý pick.
Honestly, a Leona ultimate would be their dream scenario.
Bacha na flank, bacha na flank. No, oni ho nevidí. Oni ho ještě nevidí. Dobrý. Varus je one-shotting, mašínka. Ok, Renekton one-shot. Rel je broken. Kámo, celý world říkám, pikujte rel 1, 2, 3, pikujte rel 1, 2, 3, kurva, a i bráchovi to říkám, pikujte rel 1, 2, 3, ten champ není balans.
And Noah falls, but I don't think he's gonna be feeling bad about this one, Kobe.
It's Fnatic with the outscale, it's Fnatic with the comeback.
Oh my goodness, this was not on my bingo card this morning, but I'm very happy to sketch it in crayon as these Nexus turrets are falling down, and Fnatic on their home turf will not be...
Musí vyhrát jednu na red side, nebo nemusí actually. Když prohrajou další na blue, Weibo veme blue, tak máme zase blue na třetí hru.
And Weibo, the early game, maybe not quite as high pace as we were looking for.
Doufám, že zase piknou Renekton Lily. Doufám, že piknou Renekton Lily.
When we come to it, it is now time to get towards game number 2. And we'll just have to see whether it is going to be more early game, but now it is time for Champion Select powered by Omen and HyperX. And already a tree has been removed. Another one could go, but it's going to be Aurora first.
I also kind of felt like both teams were warming up in that game.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to see about changes not only in draft, but also in gameplay here
řeším to. Uvidím, jestli mi odepíšou z aktivy. Když to nejde. Když tak to bude fungovat ještě zítra, hej? Ono to má fungovat ještě zítra, mám pocit.
Hey! Should just be the wombo combo of red side bands.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's exactly what we want to see. Aurora and Yone, both of them taken away, and now you get your one ban. Congrats. You know,
red side je hrozná.
Away from Weibo, though. We'll see what they're going to round out these bans with.
Red side je hrozně
a
hovno.
story as to what they're going to go for the first pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Weibo are not gonna do another Nidalee Lucian game.
I still feel like Renekton still stands out to me for some reason. I'm kind of hoping first pick Renekton
že Fnatic banou Poppy. Skyner first pick, OK. A oni vemou co? Vi něco a engage, nebo knock Oriana? Knock Oriana? Nocturne Oriana by byl good. Oni to podle mě nehrajou.
If we go Vi plus some kill-oriented mid lane,
Rel
maybe
pick.
they don't do it quite yet.
Rel Vi.
Vi is a lot of CC though, and it certainly.
Let's go, Rel pick in na dva. Let's go.
Previous game looked exceptional, so I would say immediately go right back on that, slam it. I think Jun definitely kind of.
A teď Oriana nebo Ahri, hej?
So now, like you're saying, they've got really good guaranteed
Oni vemou Ahri.
It's up to Weibo to break up.
Ahri Skarner je dog
plus
shit.
no kill
Oni vemou
oriented
Orianu
mid lane.
určitě.
The Oriana hover.
Oni vemou Orianu a teďka my vememe Ahri. A máme Ahri Vi je dobrý proti... Ahri Vi je dobrá proti Orianě level 6, hej?
So that was just a dare. He was like, all right, so you want to play some Ahri plus Vi? Well, you know,
I can't do anything about it, so you can do that if you want to. Haha.
Got you.
Do they want to go for the Jax here? We've seen a lot of that. I do think Skarner, as far as, you know, deliverers of Oriana's ball, not the best.
Jax se vemou, OK.
Jax would make a lot of sense. Does give you a lot of frag.
Okay. Ahri teďka.
Popular blind pick. I do think that if you do have a good Gragas, like we saw how lopsided that matchup can feel.
Oni
I
musí
do think
zabanovat
that's going to be a match
Gragase.
rotation thing. Maybe
Oscar může hrát Gragase, bylo by to good, protože potřebujeme další AP Magic na topu, jo? Budeme doufat, že Weibo nezabije Gragase a že piknou Gragase. Já budu vysílat signály svému jednovaječnému dvojčeti, ať pikne Gragas.
Yeah, I would say straight up here though, already some pretty good adjustments from Weibo. They have so much more security this time around as far as the scaling of the comp into the later stages of the game.
Je to poslaný. Jestli to německá firewall nezablokuje, tak jsme v pohodě.
Game number 1 was just a very quick.
So Rumble je good taky, hej, Rumble je good taky. Rumble, Gragas jsou good.
And the answer was no.
The answer was an emphatic no.
Yes, and then they decided, oh, well, Fnatic picked champions that won, so let's pick them.
Rumble nebo Gragas bude open.
Ale
Starban je to dobré do toho doral. Zaya, OK, good ban.
Zaya
good ban.
I'm not a big fan of that Cassante ban. Cassante to me,
Cassante is dog shit ban.
To be honest.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's also, I think, struggled a lot into the Jax. And to me, I think Fnatic are going to be looking for something that can augment the dive in one way or another, right? Either layer more dive power together with it, or try to go for something that, like a Rumble, right? Use the ultimate on the Vi target and go from there. Top lane should be the lock-in here, and then they can
top lane, no? Gragas nebo Rumble?
Unless they have something really crazy
Gragas nebo Rumble?
Lock in something.
Gragas nebo Rumble? Doufám, že to německá firewall nezablokovala.
Pretty self-sufficient, allows the rel to go about that. But I think this makes a ton of sense.
Yeah!
That's a very scary combo to go up against.
Yeah, kind of like what you were talking about earlier. They already have the base layer for a good Rumble pick with a Rel and a Vi engaged to hold people in place for that ultimate. So
focus Oriana, Ezreal je dog shit champ.
Light will actually
Jin, oni tady piknou Jina, mají popiči draft. Ale problém je Jax trošku. Jediný co, tak Jax je problém.
Is it just going to be another Leona to be locked in here for Crisp? Certainly has been something as a favorite alongside the Ezreal, but instead some more mobility as the Rakan going to be taken down, and now Jun
MF je dobrá, actually.
for Noah to play the other side of the matchup this time. Of course, it's not a Varus being wielded
MF je good do toho Jaxe Skarnera, protože MF ult nemůže blokovat Jax.
Atlas, I'm sorry, but I kind of like Jin. In this scenario,
I wasn't going to say
proti
it
Jaxovi není good, hey?
and I don't have to say it's okay. Jin's not here. He can't hurt you.
I wouldn't have minded it.
As the Misfortune is going to be locked in. I like Misfortune when there's Rumble in the game.
Draft div? Není to tak velký draft div, jak tu hru první. Tu první hru to bylo 90-10 draft div. Teď je to tak 60-40 pro Fnatic. Teď je to reálně tak 60-40. Není to velký draft div, ale je to lepší draft Fnatic.
Do you even need the extra piece of Misfortune? Because do you want another like
no big... such thing as too much.
Wombo combo AoE magořina, jo, ale jediný co tak je, bojím se trošku toho z Jaxa a Rakana, když budou flankovat. Pomarkovat si flank. Hlavně markovat Jax flank a Rakan flank. Mark Jax flank, Rakan flank. Nenechte se flanknout.
But between the Jax and the Rakan specifically, that Orianna is going to have a ton of power. And I do think that this is a style of composition where Fnatic is going to have to be the aggressor, which obviously has been somewhat of a double-edged sword for them.
Yeah, and I do think now with a bit of like a game breathing room for Fnatic, maybe it's time to go back and see whether dominating an early game can just lead to victory, as it has for this team in the past, or whether they do have to go back to adding some of these scaling elements and trying to help things along here for the squad. But I think that there are a lot of notable differences here from Weibo as well. As we dive into the Rift here for game number 2, it's the fact that I don't think the Jax value is nearly as high as it was in game number 1 for Oscar.
You know what value I think is very high, though?
What's that?
Lights Ezreal. Because Lights Ezreal was his most played in summer and in summer playoffs. And this player has really been like the
bojím se laning fáze na topu, 1v1 Rumble Jax.
For Weibo, I feel like over the course.
Rumble by měl být good do Jaxe. Ale bojím se toho, prostě nějak se toho bojím, jak to je to sus. A pak se bojím Rakan, flank a Jax flank.
We'll see about the execution, though. I think this game will look very different.
And you can see as well, remember to log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, and capsules. Hope that segue was all right. I'll keep working on it as the days go on.
I really think you did a good job until you
talked about it. Yeah. But that's what I like to do, because then I can never do a good job and it fits in with the vibe.
But you did a really I don't need to dive into this right now. Does look like Weibo, at the very least, want to figure out what is happening here.
Yeah,
they actually want to commit to a fight.
I like that. Number 1 goal, let's figure out what's happening here.
To be fair, in terms of lane swaps, I do think that's a good call. Are they actually going to commit to the level 1?
What's happening here is a level 1 5-on-5. So we figured out
that's what's happening.
All right, we've got a crash down though, as Breathe is kind of separated. Does have Counter Strike, probably one of the best abilities for level 1 in the game.
Oscar in, and he's firing these harpoons, man.
He's finding a lot of value as well. He's running pretty hot right now, looking for another angle there. Does find the last one. That is, I want to see the damage done here in this level 1, because I feel like this Rumble has certainly done a whole lot already.
Co se stalo?
Just the look on Chronicler's face is the best.
Co se stalo? Kámo, proč vždycky, když odejdu, tak se stane něco? Weibo to ztratili, oni swapovali. 5v5 level 1 a máme redku.
You just zoom it in. You just like have it open on lolesports.com as well.
If that Rakan was a Braum, I'm like, yes, please fully commit to going for an early invade.
If you had wheels, you'd be a bike.
Exactly! You have to see what the actual repercussions of this are going to be.
A slow push. Hej, zone, nepushuj Noah. Legit nepushuj. Zone. Oni můžou, ono se to pušuje k ním. Na botu se to pušuje k Fnatic, ta linka. Oni můžou zónout Jaxe od všech XP. Co dělá Razor? Hej, proč furt gankuje mid level 3? Já to nechápu.
Let's focus up. We got Ari Vi.
Oni čekají na rail.
Ari Vi mid lane looking to burn some summoner spells, and look at River too.
Jun is heading up. Going to speed him up as Flash does come out. Razor does exactly what he needs to as Jun's going to turn up as well.
Měli zónit Jaxe od expu. Tohle je Dokši zase. Mára prohrává 1v1, oni se mu snaží pomoct. A kvůli tomu Brief teďka může farmit. Bylo mnohem lepší zónit. Teď Jax ještě může movovat first a invadnou jeho... Já nevím. Proč se snaží pomáhat tomu Márovi vždycky level 3, tak moc.
The only thing you give up is vision of your jungler when you pass through mid, and Weibo looking to punish on
help,
that.
Tak ať týpne, vole, má TP. Úplně useless pomáhat. Pomáhat je useless, hej.
Level 3, Brief taking a fair bit of damage now.
Má flash, má flash.
He can rotate over as well.
Dobrý flash, dobrý flash!
There's the crash down. Crisp taking so much damage, but he flashes to get away. Razok doing exactly the same thing. Noah just standing there looking for someone to hit. As Razok should be taken out, but not
Pome! Nemá flash! Borci, to se nebojte se! Nebojte se, máte Ignite na rail, máte bariéru. MF má bariéru, nabij ti to, nabij ti to. Kurva, máte flashe, oni nemají flashe, čeho se bojíte, kurva. Kamo, čeho se bojíte, máte flashe, oni ne.
Tarzan, he wants to be able to take this Rift Scuttler, and maybe we'll just have waves being attacked as Jun just.
Proč to nefajtí?
That was actually a really big kind of like defense of the recall there for Weibo. If they'd been able to interrupt Breeze's recall here, it really would have messed up his timing because they pushed in on the bottom wave immediately afterwards, but he gets it off, and so
oni mají Summoner spelly div a oni Ignite mají, flashe mají, bariéru mají.
On that top side of the map, and Razork actually stealing away from the enemy side here. Let's see how much he can get. Razork already with the pass through mid and bringing that summoner spell is quite big in setting up their early game, but we'll see if he can continue.
Yeah, that's what led to that fight in the first place. It was the fact that Razork went for the gank on mid and then went back into his own jungle, where obviously Weibo were trying to contest, did end up getting it, and now
no, 19 CS, ale má first blood, takže
feels like it's still fairly even, right? A lot of summoners blown on the side of Weibo, but unless a big fight breaks out early on, shouldn't be too big of a detriment.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest advantage here is actually on the side of Fnatic, and that is with Razork's possible opportunities for the next plays, because Breeze now, no teleport. Tarzan now, no teleport as well. So if they're able to shift the lanes backwards, then Razork is going to have a lot of opportunities. Humanoid will get to his level 6 very soon. Of course, the Vi is going to take quite a bit longer since we've had extra time skirmishing and not full clearing.
Yep. Crisp is going to find position of Razork. Getting stunned up, I think holding on to the counter-strike, and that's why Jun doesn't want to overcommit here. Still going to throw the crash down in, and there is that counter-strike to come out.
Podíváme se na XP.
This wave state is horrible though. It's pushing away
Harry
from
má
Breeze,
trošku
and
ahead.
the rest of Weibo is towards the top side of the map, trying to get these grubs. They will get that. Fnatic looking to counter with both a dragon and possibly Jun. He's still backing. It looks like they're going to let Breeze get to the wave anyway. So just a trade of objectives here.
Yeah, quite nice there for Weibo. Honestly, the player that I had my magnifying glass on from the champion select in light on his Ezreal is probably the place that they are still
Razork je půlku level ahead, Rumble je skoro celý level ahead,
extra bonus money in that skirmish.
Ezreal je celý level ahead.
CS here for Light, who had been CSing on top side of the map, still on a very good pace in this game.
Yeah, because everything's been so chaotic, but we did see for a brief moment there as well, Oscar just getting pelted by Ezreal. I think this is one of the few matchups as well where, particularly after the Rumble nerfs, you're just kind of sitting there and you get poked down. It's really hard for you to get on top of the Ezreal. And even if you do get on top of him, quite as much damage as you do before. Razork should be getting closer towards the level 6, but Xiao now will have his flash available, so that should take away at least one possible risk here for Weibo.
Tam je fakt dobrý, že Fnatic měli tu první hru Blue Side, protože banujou, oni můžou mít dvě Blue Sidey a oni banujou.
You can see that Light is ahead of Noah, but they haven't been laning against one
Oni
another,
banujou
right?
to,
So the fact that Breathe is being
Orianu
kept
na
down
Red
so
Side
much, I think really does help sort of mitigate some of the issues that have been happening here in this early game as far as farm, because Oscarinen is going to be getting towards a pretty scary point, because this composition, it spikes pretty hard on that level 6 mark. Throwing down that equalizer and setting it up on top of the cease and desist can be absolutely deadly if we do fight for this next pack of grubs.
And speaking of level 6s, there you go. In time for that fight, Razork gets his.
Draft even, není to even. 60-40 pro Fnatic.
First plate is going to be taken down here. Almost grabs a second as well here on the side.
Tady ty gruby nám řeknou hodně za 2 minuty, potom ty gruby fight.
A little bit of an Australian lane swap as the bottom lane moves towards top side.
Quite early as well, considering normally this happens to try and get. Oh,
whoa! There's the flash in the shattering strike.
Wow, dobrý. Ale Razork je dead, ne, musí flashnout. Dobrý. Já! Jun Rel 1-2.
Razork out of there, and Fnatic they strike.
Rel je broken. Rel je broken. To prostě nemůžeš, ale to, jak to chceš obehrát?
really big determining factor in game number 1, coming up with a couple of big engages in this game as well. He was the one who started out the bottom side skirmish for their side as well. And it was a little bit of acting, you know, with Razor kind of walking back the other direction.
A tuhle hru se musí feednout reálně Rumble. Ideální, kdyby se feednul Rumble. On dostal level up, má Rahul.
Just holds onto it and doesn't actually need it. So nicely done. Equalizer has to be used here towards the bottom side just to try and get breathe off of Oscarinen, but it is a trade of ultimates in the end. I just think that the Equalizer a little bit more valuable in the upcoming fights.
Yeah, Xiao is only sitting on tier, so I imagine you when I press tab, he's like, no, I don't need to invest anything there.
Coming in for all that damage, Chronicler.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that might have been the point.
That it was. Yeah, thank you, Atlas.
Have you seen the AP mid roaming recons?
I have.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Not
It's okay, it was a fraud. I haven't experienced it myself.
All right, speaking of roaming mids, though, Humanoid being assisted by Jun to clear out some of this vision. Again, always looking at that synergy between Razor, Jun, and Humanoid to pull out some of these plays. Humanoid, not only you mentioned him holding on to the flash there, he also has his ultimate available, so kind of itching to make a play. Vision control around mid, plus having everything ready here. Seems like Fnatic are kind of poised to blow some summoner spells in the next couple of minutes, because you already see Jun on reset, going right back out, holding hands with Razor.
Ani ne, hele, ani ne. Jediný problém je Jax.
Together, the support jungle engage combo, looking to move towards the grub fight.
And with this fight, Ari, you want to be the one that's at the objective first. You get to decide with full information whether you want to take a fight or not.
Tarzan with a little yoink here.
Ooh, that's actually quite
big. Ty gruby tady budou důležitý,
already has his TP available.
Pro Jaxe. Tady bychom to měli fightit, ale nemáme mid právě, nemáme top právě, nemáme bot právě. Jak to je možný, že nemáme žádný právě? Chytněte ho, chytněte ho, chytněte ho. Ale borci, co se tady bojíme? Fanatic se hrozně bojí. Hrozně se bojí, zbytečně. A Razor... Já napíšu Tomášovi. Kurva, nauč Razorka.
If they're not taking it, then Oscarin, how come he didn't hard push on the wave? Now he goes up to hard push the wave, that all of them are gone. Looks like Rumble, probably the extra few seconds probably don't matter. He's waiting around for the extra information. Since it's not a cannon wave, those will all die to tower anyway.
Yep, you got Fnatic able to get a crash in towards his top lane as well.
Prostě každou hru mají 6
will look to catch it. So Weibo just back to business now. Still going to be about a 1000 gold lead.
Fnatic prostě, já furt nechápu, že prostě Razor to neumí. Kámo, kdyby Razor byl dobrý hráč, tak to umí. Že to naprosto dělá každý dobrý azijský jungler, že prostě i když jsou behind tempo, tak prostě veme jednoho grubíka, smajtne ho a jde do piči, prostě chápeš.
Big difference here, obviously, though, is that Weibo is completely fine with this going to late game, right? But Weibo isn't really nearly as pressed. There's no Renex in Italy, no Lucian mid trying to look for flanks. They have a composition that if they ever, regardless of what the game state is, hit their spikes, if they hit a big ultimate of either Crisp, Xiao and Tarzan in any combination or get a good flank from Breathe, they can always find an angle into a fight. Particularly, I think Noah and Oscarinin, both of these champions, they have a lot of threats, but they're also immobile. So you need to be careful. A lot of movement speed, but that alone might not be enough if Crisp finds access to the backline. As now,
Nova je úplně mega OP na ty gruby, protože vždycky můžeš vzít autisno. Ani nemusíš flashovat out. Pítičko díky za 3.
To try and play as looks like the mid wave just going to be fully dropped. Humanoid making his way over. That's pretty costly for Fnatic. They got to go.
Yeah, Razok making his way in, make it rain to
Noah
slow
se toho
them
nebojí. Jedinej Noah se toho nebojí. Já nechápu, proč Fnatic jako neengagejou, kurva. Borci, máte ult. Kdykoliv máte ult, ultěte. Tam jako, to je prostě trigger. Ta hra není tak hard.
Jun just trying to get himself in there, shattering strike just onto Tarzan, but he's still going to pressure him away. Now Weibo, they can start off this strike if they'd like to, but instead just want to take control of these waves. And I think they're going to do this dance again, gentlemen.
Yeah, and you can tell too with mid-wave push, now Humanoid gets to move into the river and fully clear out all this vision. So a little prio there does enable the setup here for Fnatic, a lot easier for them. We've also got full BT completed for Noah in time for this fight.
That's a big spike.
Yeah.
Já se nedivím toho, že se Razor bojí, protože všechny ty jeho engage předtím minulou sérii, tak byly game losing.
they're going to seed it due to the complete.
Kámo, tady vidíš prostě jak hraje, no přesně, jak tady vidíš jak hraje Faker a hry a pak vidíš prostě EU a hry. Faker má delší dobu ult na CD než ult available. Oh, pipi. Wow, oni si mysleli, že to forcnou, ale Razor to neví. Ale kde je Razorku? Kámo, mě je zlé z Razorka. Proč jsem nezaultil Ezreala nebo Rakana, když tam MF ultila? Kámo, Razor. Razor.
Previous to that, Jax had not been winning that much, and now coming out with a nice teleport flank himself. Breathe gets in there in the back with the counter. It was nicely set up by Weibo pretty early on here, though, with the trap towards Tribrush.
Nevím, kámo, nevím, ale prostě Oscar, Noah a June jsou nejlepší hráči Fanatiku momentálně.
And I think the second teleport kind of caught Fnatic
Nevím, co se děje s Razorkem a s humanoidem.
Earlier, and the Ahri can assist with just a little bit of damage. The restart starts coming online.
That's the key point, because it was very sneaky play there from Weibo. You know, putting all that vision down and setting up the play. They're like, okay, fine. You get the dragon and kind of.
Ale furt je OK draft, jo, a je to even jakoby. Jen problém je prostě jediný člověk, co se nesmí feednout, je Jax a Jax se feednout.
Ooh, Tarzan gets over the wall there. Suppression does come on through as now Humanoid down to 50% as Light throwing out these missing shots, doing so much work as Humanoid gets over the wall, avoids the rock, but is now not able to get back, just teleported towards that top side.
Oni ještě ani jednou ne Ahri ultli agresivně, ne? S Markem.
Oh, if Crisp had led that a little bit further on his recon knockup, probably would have at least forced Humanoid's flash.
To je mega věc.
But it was just inside, and
the
ultimate
distance
was enough to get Humanoid out.
This time, just like in game number 1, Weibo is going to be able to pick this up.
Počkej, Oscar veme první turet. To je huge. To je huge. To je huge. To je huge. Rumble se musí feednout tuhle hru.
I'm looking for a little bit of a wraparound here as Razok not able to get the interruption on the back. There goes the Rift Herald. Tarzan collects that one. We'll see whether we get an earlier turret take in mid lane this time, as if at first you don't succeed, let's just do it again. As he does get charmed, doesn't quite work out as Crisp with the quickness finds one charm. There's the knock up, the flash forward into the Impale. Shockwave layered on top. Man, that looked completely unplayable for Humanoid. And that spell is dead. As Weibo now looking to push forward, find more, maybe even just find this turret.
Yeah, that is a very dead mid laner. And guess what? The gold went to the perfect spot for Weibo. Lights Ezreal. Getting paid here. They should be able to keep up the pressure, push in the extra wave, and then swap down to the other side. Already look, Jax is going straight for the turret right now, so Breathe as well going to benefit from this pressure.
In the previous play, way back in mid lane, felt like we praised Humanoid for holding on to his flash. This time around, if there's that much CC, you know the moment you get hit by anything, it's pretty much game over. Did feel very telegraphed. Maybe the call was that even if he does invest the flash, Crisp just follows up with his own and you still end up going down. I'd have to see the replay, but it is a big win for Weibo. And again, unlike game number 1, this isn't the game where they need to get big leads. They can just keep playing for these team fights, particularly with Light in the spot.
Jako ten draft je furt good, protože viral za ulti, bombo combo, Rumble ult on top of it, jako, ale problém je prostě, jak hrajou, no. Celkem boring, jak hraje Razor s Márem. Víš, že prostě hrajou hrozně špatně. Bojí se, nic nedělají. Neflashujou, neultí.
And if you look at your item breakpoints for Weibo, it's looking beautiful. They have all of their Merc treads for their tenacity, for all of the engage from Fnatic, and then they have the main damage items here, and working on their second item power spikes here for the 2 carries.
Yep, and I think like 2 item spikes for Ezreal and for the Orianna need no introduction. And that is going to be a terrifying time for Fnatic when those items do get completed. I think Light must be very, very close to that Muramana completion. Almost getting full stacks, and that is going to mean this Ezreal is going to be fully unlocked. And so the goal
prej, že to funguje, že to je ten kód je prostě freeze.
22 seconds, that's when this Ocean Drake is going to spawn, and Soul Point going to be really powerful for giving Fnatic control moving forward in this series. or in this game at least.
So this is going to be a big breaking point. For Fnatic, there is basically two modes. Big engage with Method and a Rumble, or picking off a single target. For Weibo, want to try and keep that backline safe.
Ale já jsem se zeptal, jak to přijde. Pozor! Funguje, i když napíšeš velkým, tak já nevím, co tady všichni japujou. A funguje to i pro Slováky. Ne. Yeah! Jak to, že one-shotli z Karnera? To já jsem nepochopil. Ale recall a defend top turret. Někdo. Kurva, ale těch 6 grubů! Někdo musí... Maro recall taky! Real recall na top lane, nemůžete tam nechat jenom Rumble, on dostane dive! Co děláte? Flash! Typy! To přežije! Utíkej! Pome, Marek Brázda!
Light comes in, and Humanoid goes out, but Xiao he's a psycho, but it's working! As Light tries to push him away and will be successful. Oh man.
And this chain from Fnatic all starts with them saying, fine.
Jak one-shotli z Karnera, by the way. Jak one-shotli z Karnera.
And they immediately just destroy.
A tale as old as time. You love to see it.
Jak one-shotli z Karnera. Ten draft je tak broken. Kamo, Noah hraje dobře, ale. Noah hraje dost pěkně. A tady měl flashnout, ale tady měl flashnout teď. On ta Rakan ult můžeš flashnout. Přežil by a pak by to tam bylo clean.
But Fnatic only left Vi down there, so they're able to get a little bit of.
Tady se stalo co? Jak to, že Noah nedal větší damage?
And Light truly heroic timing there on the arrival because
jo, ona se štítnula ta svině.
Noah can flash aggressively. That could have been the backbreaker, because do note right now Weibo still with a gold lead.
Mara ulti. Hej, to se mi líbí. To nevadí, že se zaultil. Tohle musí dělat. Však to má za 40 vteřin znova, vole. Legit takhle musí ultit Ahri. Já bych flamel Ahri, když má ult up. Kdykoliv, kdy má ult up. Ahri, noob. Jax ale je problém, protože perma split pushuje a Rumble vůbec nefarmí. Jax je tady problém, borci. Jax je tady kurva velký problém. Jax je kurva velký problém.
Good first series at Worlds.
Se bojím Jax Rakan flanku, jak jsem říkal early.
This particular game is going to go. I feel like Weibo are fighting so much harder this time. I feel like they are playing towards their composition a whole lot more.
Mara bude mít znova ult.
Fnatic really did put a fair bit of hope in me after that first game.
I've heard that's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah. I'm not monologuing though. I'm just saying it, stating a fact. Like they did well. Is that? It's not, maybe it's a bad
they
monologue.
Successfully filled Atlas with hope. I like that. Hope was forcefully put in you.
I do.
Jako máme dost magic damage a MF ult nejde bloknout Jax Edgekem, takže ho dokážeme zabít. MF je zrovna jako v pohodě proti Jaxovi, hej. Tahle Ocean Soul like moc velký má impact na hru.
I think the feeling of trepidation that both of you are experiencing
oni nemají one shot, oni mají sustain.
Takový big team fight. Oh yeah. It still comes down to the next big breaking point here, because it has certainly not been determined yet.
Dobře mu dáváš! Dobře mu dáváš! Yes! A kill Skarner! Yes! Jede! Zap toho, jenom bacha na Jaxe! Pomyslím, zapte Jaxe! Skurvený Jax! Nemá Noah flash, kurva Jax! Skurvený Jax! Jax dal 1v9, nepohlídali si ho.
Oh my god! 4 kills in the hands of Light's Ezreal? This game just went so far the way of Weibo. And it had started out so nice for Fnatic on their pick. Look at this.
Hej, tady je to super.
Look at what they invest.
Ale dali všechno.
Noah's ult, Razor's ult and Oscar's
ult. A tady face choke, já jsem říkal, nečasujte do choke.
Ends up making, and look at this play here from the Jax. Actually getting the threat on Noah, stunning Razor as well, and then Light's follow-up. And if that wasn't enough,
Mara je ale hrozně výsost tuhle hru, hej.
from Xiaohu and Weibo with an impeccable fight. And the big thing is, yes, this is a lot of gold, but so many sums were used. And the Soul fight that I think Fnatic otherwise would have loved to take, looking a lot rougher now.
Jax is looking pretty good in this series.
Top je balance, guys. Každou hru vyhrává top laner.
Double stun and light
Minulou hru to
instantly
Oscar
jumping
vyhrál.
over the back of Wolves to finish off the kills. Like Weibo just forcefully retook control.
Minulou sérii
fight,
taky
even
top
though
lane
Fnatic
vyhrál.
start out with the pick.
Actually looking, I thought that Fnatic used more.
Včera taky každou sérii vyhrál top laner.
Noah has his back up now.
Že Vayne vyhrál top lane.
But there you see, like that's an insane spike. When it comes to the gold, do note, Fnatic can just give this up. They don't need to fight for this dragon. They can wait and
Tady to byla
have it
škoda, my jsme
equalize.
mohli fightit na
They
to.
want to do that
Tady
though,
bychom
and
neměli
teleport
fightit.
says absolutely not.
A hry je hrozně výsost teďka. Celou hru nic nedělal, nehrál. My jsme prostě pikli a hry bye a 16 minut jsme nedali ani jednou ult. 16 minut jsme nedali ult.
Tarzan does get himself over. Not going to quite find the stun though as Breathe gets into that backline. This counter-strike not quite as good, but Humanoid still going to get taken out of the fight. Another shockwave on absolutely everyone in that particular area, and Jun going to get taken out in the end. Breathe going to finish him off, and I feel like Weibo, they may have just started this snowball rolling.
Yeah, that's going to be Dragon denied from
Hry
Fnatic
Razor,
and possibly then turning everything over towards the Baron area of the map. I mean, it's 25 seconds on both Noah and Razork. Weibo just control the entire map.
And that one team fight, really good for Weibo, but not that
Ale
great.
dobrý je, že budeme na blue side. Další hru budeme na blue side a oni banou Orianu. Takže Xiaohu nehraje Orianu.
I don't think there's a lot that Fnatic can do. Even if they wouldn't, they would be the first ones that would be able to get the back in, get back out on the map, and at this point, Fnatic wasn't going to be
Mara
able to
nemá
contest,
prostě jediný faker a kdo byl ten druhý ten Ahry hráč, co měl povolení hrát Ahry. To je jak s Jaxem. Ode mě Jax, hráči na top lane ode mě musí dostat povolení hrát Jaxe. Knight? Okay. A to je stejný s Ahry. Ahry musí prostě mít patent od Aleše Frize Kněžínka, když to můžeš hrát. A bohužel zatím ho má jenom faker Knight. A Chow vyhrál Ahry taky, Chow ho má taky. Ale Humanoid 100% ten pakt nemá. 16 minut neultit za Ahry. Ne. Tak se Ahry nehraje.
Jax looking mighty strong.
Noah had no options really, and it's good call out by Weibo. They're like, this Misfortune with no flash is an easy target. The deep ward that they left behind previously is what they used to start this out. And if you're sending the Jax plus the Skarner straight towards the Misfortune face, then there's not a lot that he could do. And Weibo successfully able to snowball, as you say.
První hru jsme pikli Skarnera, pak hrál 2-3, že jo?
Towards that top side, the secondary tower here really does not stand a chance.
Hrál tam je.
Well, Breathe probably going to find out that there is a Jun in that brush. So far he's a bit of a secret agent, finds a Magnet Storm onto 3.
Maro, ale 1000 goldů, ale Jun ho dostal. Ne, MM zautila nic. Čoukul to, už to čoukul. Tohle bylo gold, kdyby to tady Mara flashnul. Já nevím, proč Mara není schopen udělat to, že prostě ty vole. Ach jo. Bráško, Marku. Že Marek není schopný udělat to, co udělal. Jun tam najde perfektní flank a Mara tam dal ult, charm a pak jediný, co mu stačí udělat, je ult, charm, kvéčko a flashnout Oriana ult, že Oriana tady zaultila. A Mara to neflashne. Jo, že tady v tom, tady jak je ten keřík, Jun tady engagene na SDL, který teď jako dal prostě Ečko forward a Ahry dala ult, charm a pak musí flash out. A pak může zase ult in, Q, W, boom. Můj bože. Dívej. Dívej na Humanoida. A pak to no-up na inti. Boom, boom. Ult, flash out. To vidíš tu ult? A tady no-a neulti. Nebo cancel ult a ulti Skarnerovi. Víš, co je šílený, že třeba LCK hráči, LCK AD Carry a Viper, když Skarner ultí, tak oni to sidestepnou tu ult. Ale prostě tady v oba dva ty ADčka, jak Noah, tak ani tady ten Light nejsou schopni to sidestepnout. Ale pak vidíš,
if Weibo somehow end up losing this series, that's the end. So trying to play it for like the 99%, I think is a good call.
All right, because they got both top and mid inhibitors, very easy for Weibo now to finish the pressure. Just rotate over towards bottom side, push up the wave. Here comes the siege. Fnatic trying to pull off a last stand here.
It's going to have to be an absolute miracle. The True Shot Barrage does go wide. Razork tried to get in there just to push Crisp away, and he's just not going to even listen to him. There's a flash forward, though. They find the ultimate onto Xiaohu, but he just goes golden. And now it's Weibo's turn to throw a volley back. The two-man shockwave is beautiful, and Light is absolutely untouched this time around. Humanoid has some mobility, but unfortunately he's moving only to the death chamber in this instance. Two of these Nexus turrets will be taken out, and Weibo going to even out the series here up against Fnatic.
We're going to a game 3, baby!
Jako takhle, když vidíš dvě hry, viděli jsme dvě hry a Humanoid a Razork hrajou strašně špatně. A ty to prostě vidíš a ty to nejde změnit. Oni budou hrát i tu třetí hru špatně. Tady to musí step upnout, no a Oscar. Yeah.
I gotta say, 3 Weibo tying the series back up again and
looking pretty similar,
eerily similar, one could say.
Co tam vaří?
What we saw in the first game as far as bans are concerned. The Aurora going to be banned on the red side this time, though. That is going to be the first change up. It's just Fnatic sticking to that one.
Want to echo some of what the desk was saying. To me, the draft for Fnatic became very hard to play out the moment that misfortune was locked in, right? Because Light obviously had an insane pop-off game, but to me, unless you're playing Kai'Sa, which I'm pretty sure was just banned again, trying to play as an AD carry when Vi and Ahri are going to be like 3 screens away, if you're immobile, unless you're like Lethality Varus, and I think even in that case, it is just so hard. You have very little leeway, especially if you're playing against Brave, who's made his sole job the entire game to just make sure Noah doesn't get to play it.
Yep, and speaking of not playing things, the Orianna going to be taken away from Xiaohu.
Yeah.
The Skarner first pick should be coming in. Now, what about Ash then? Yeah, Ash. So Ash is now left up, but so is the Jax. Is it Jax Ash? Is that what we're going to see here? And it's not like
Však vždycky mohli jednat 2 Rel, teda Orianu. Jo, oni chtěli Jax Rel a proto zabanovali Orianu. Aha, chápu. Chápu. Oni zabanovali Orianu, aby prostě pikli Jax Rel, protože když by pikli Jax Rel, tak oni vemou Oriana Skarnera, to je problém.
Right, split pushers, like solely dedicated split pushers, like for example the Fiora, we just don't really see.
A hry Skarner nemá moc damage, hej? A hry Skarner je takový, že jako nemá to moc damage. Tady stačí být even fanatiku do 20. minuty a hry Skarner nemají damage. 5-headed dík za tier 2, 18 měsíců, ty vole.
Gotta be quite high. The Ahri doesn't feel quite as insane to me when you pair it with the Skarner. Still a good amount of lockdown though, but just not quite the same snap potential and damage.
Ahri Ezreal Skarner.
This does
hej,
feel like it has enough damage.
Tady legit, stačí být even do 20. minuty, pokud budeme scalovat. Problém je, že Jax tady není tak good do té hry Ezreal. Why? Proč why?
And I was wondering about this because I kind of felt like Sejuani felt like a good angle here, but
especially because as soon as you saw
máš tam ten log, Vi je good, máš tam lockdown na guaranteed na. Tady bude Ziggs bot lane asi, hej, oni, ale budeme doufat, že to nezabanou. Brown ban.
So we're banning Kai'Sa. There we go, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Ezreal already locked in, plenty of dive on the enemy team.
Hej, tady reálně bych místo Vi možná piknul prostě Kai'Su. AD.
And Ziggs Vi is a combo that I think is just
Kai'Sa Rel,
really,
Jax
really
by
strong.
good.
Also, Ziggs is one of the champions that allows you to play 1-3-1 or at least a 1-4 a lot better, as he has so much wave clear, but also side lane control with his ultimate.
Opens up a lot of flexibility for Humanoid as well.
Yeah.
To play sort of anything in that mid lane, so I don't mind that idea. Could just be the last ban here though for Weibo, as Kai'Sa Ziggs really are sort of the AP bottom lane options at this point in time. Still considering it for now though, as the Rumble is going to be taken away from Breathe, not allowing them to play that side of the matchup.
Rumble ban, okay.
Yeah, Fnatic themselves not wanting to run.
Silas ban.
Okay, interesting.
Oni chcou Alistara.
Silas protection ban
Oni vemou,
already.
oni chcou Alistara do té rail, to je obvious. Ezreal, Alistar, Ahri, Skarner. Ziggs nevím, no, to je takový...
Feels like a bit of a no-brainer based on what we were discussing.
Is the Silas ban
Budeme
because they
mít
want
moc
to
magic
pick
damage.
like Alistar into the rel for bottom lane possibly?
Pick Alistar and...
So it does open up that possibility for Chris.
Also, I
No,
think
Ziggs je
Silas
good,
in general has just been...
ale jako...
A lot of players have liked it into the...
ale ta Ahri je docela dobrá do Ziggse, Ezreal je taky v pohodě do Ziggse.
Is it R5
Smolder mid? Ty pičo, to by bylo good.
I'm trying to think what you want to go with Vi. They can of course also go for, as you already...
Hej, to by bylo good!
An AP source. And Jax also is mixed.
Smolder mid je tady insane!
That game number 1, but...
Okay, pretty standard here then.
Yeah. Not feeling as exciting as far as the last few picks.
That said, for Weibo, this is a very different comp. This is low damage. Yeah. Right. It's going to be Ahri, who is very burst focused, and I know that Light did a lot of damage.
Smolder mid,
I do think that the Jax really gave, and I like this a lot more. Add an additional threat and ensure that even if they do somehow get Light, there's an opportunity. Okay.
He actually slammed
Actually, Swain je tady insane taky.
Maybe Humanoid will play something a little bit different. No.
Swain je tady insane taky.
A lot different, and this is
Oni nemají jak zabít Swaina, oni nemají damage. Oni nemají damage, ten jejich komp nemá damage. Pokud se Gnar nefeedne, tak nemají damage.
You know, things that really excel in that sort of like big clump team fight are going to really take over.
Ale máme moc magic damage, máme moc magic damage. Tuhle hru se musí feednout Jax. Nebo Vi. Jax nebo Vi musí mít killy. Ty pičo, ale... Navařeno, navařeno. Ty pičo, Shao is like... Ty pičo, co mám dělat proti Swainovi, vole? Ale Gnar se nesmí feednout. Hele, jestli se feedne Gnar, tak je to problém. Gnar se nesmí feednout. Ej, on si postaví Mercs, Swain, a bude fakt realize a bude unkillable. Tohle vypadá dobře. Tady to vypadá dobře. Swain je tady insane, ale Smolder by byl taky insane, ale Swain je taky insane.
I love it. Everything on the line. All or nothing. Final game in this series.
Proč piknul Red Side? Kvůli tomu, aby piknul Jax Rel za Skarnera. Actually, hej, tohle je good, tohle bylo good, to bylo good, tohle bylo good, tohle bylo good.
And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But if it does, I think that we might see the old man with a cane another time in this tournament, because it just feels like such a masterstroke into what Weibo have put together and what a lot of other teams have been putting together so far this tournament.
Also, and I don't think Swain is quite as obscure, but we saw what happened with Doran and Nunu. Right? Atlas and I in particular, you know, Doran. Very skilled player, but that was definitely a Doran moment.
He keeps a lot of RAM free, right? This is the way we have to explain it, right? Sometimes you don't need to know everything.
Well, I think it definitely should know. That doesn't seem like that.
On má Aeris, Swain.
That's it, neither here nor there. The Swain really is to me one of those champions where
jediný, co bych jim tady vytknul, je, že měli piknout Kai'Su na trojce místo Vi. A pak 4-5 jakýkoliv jungler, whatever. Oni lane swapují, ok. A s Jacksem se vždycky lane swapuje, to je hrozně predictable.
What would be like the brain dead things where you're just like, wow, they don't know what the champ does, because like if there's a giant red eyeball circle on the ground, you're like, you're just going to not walk into it, you know, you're like, oh, he throws at the
Grasp na co? Na Swaina, ne? Na Swaina se většinou hraje Electrocute, ale...
I will say though, that some people don't always react to is you want to get out of the ultimate.
On začal s kvečkem, zajímavý. Proč začal s
There's been
kvečkem?
a lot of different iterations, and that's, I think, the biggest one to know, as you say. If that is popped, and that's actually what I love about the Fnatic comp, because not only is Weibo short range and are they forced to play into outside the Ezreal, but also they have so much CC to set up for the Swain.
Exactly. If you don't get out of the ultimate, then he can just keep on
keeps on going.
Keep on channeling it there, and as you say, you know, the Rel and the
Jax typuje, on moc nejde zabít. Tady by měl dát solo Expiral dokonce, hej. Po dvojce.
Pretty well acquainted with how it's been going, but we've had those double teleports from both top laners, switching some lanes here. And we'll see whether Breathe is going to be okay towards that top side. As you can see now, Oscar is just trying to do what he can, uses the counter-strike when he can to get as much experience as possible here. And it's working out just fine. Things doing as they say on the tin, as it were.
Tady se mi nelíbí, jak hraje Mára tu linku, ale dostává strašně na piču.
He's getting stacks.
Yeah.
Ale dokud má potky, tak je to
Kobe, fortunately, also is going to be our. Are you going to be stack counter?
Misnul to.
Well, we have it as well on the broadcast. That's not something that I'm used to. Kind of.
Yeah, that's
normally we need to do this manually.
Má ještě potku, má rád typy, takže je to irrelevant, Kolik má stacků? 12?
Yeah, the soul fragments though, that permanent health stacking so far, just the one that we saw on screen.
Tady je blbý, že dostávají tak fouknu to. Tohle je dost blbý. Jax, vem si potku.
Kind of crashing the large wave as Tarzan is just transitioning over to this side of the jungle.
Xiaohu setting up vision.
On ví, kde je Varda, ale nedá avoidne.
Be able to grab that one away as John and Oscar and then just going to deal with the minion wave. Like probably going to crash that one through. And so far, no real scuffles, and I think this is the closest things have been at this point in the game.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that
ale Vi je 24 kempů a Scanner je jenom 20. Ale on tam má ještě scuttle crab, hej?
Is that you get like that extra little camp there for Razork, so Razork with a really nice start on the Vi, a little bit of extra tempo for him, gonna get an earlier recall, which he might be able to spend
Jun toho Turel hraje dobře, hej? To bude dobré.
Also teleport for both bot lanes here, so both Light and Noah can play fairly aggressive as Noah.
Tarzan getting himself in there, Chris finding a knock only onto Jun. That was beautifully done by Noah. Gives him a thumbs up for it as well, or maybe that was for himself, because he deserves it.
That looked a little dicey, so Noah used his satchel to interrupt Tarzan, but it also knocked himself forward. So really good sidestep there on the entrance from Chris, otherwise he would have definitely taken a lot more.
Mara stakuje.
If things are going well pre-6, you're feeling good as Razork might have snuck in here.
Yeah, gets behind them. No shattering strike to come down, but now the Vault Breaker is good.
Tady nemá jako zabít, ale. Oni to canceluli! Oni to canceluli! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
As he makes his way out.
And that's exactly the play we're looking for with Razork, having that little tempo lead in jungle, spends it onto the bottom side of the map.
Vi se musí feednout, hej? Vi nebo Jax se musí tuhle hru feednout. 60 stacků má Swain. To nevím, kolik je hodně nebo málo. Tady jsem se divil, jak ho zabili toho Rakana. Swain je even za... Hej, Swain je even. Swain reálně, pokud bude even do levelu 11. No cap, pokud Swain bude even z Ahry do levelu 11, tak vyhrál. Jestli jako...
About to hit level 6 really when the Swain is going to
start. Ty vole, tady bych dal pozor, June.
Much bigger threat.
Yep, picking up that demon play going to be very, very important. This one.
Majzik se chce to grubíky. Chce to grubíky, ale pro Jaxita. Hej, oba grubíci jsou OP. Jak pro Jaxe, tak pro Gnara jsou oba grubíci OP. Problém je, že my nehrajeme grubíky, prostě Fnatic nehrajou grubíky. Skarner si to tam soluje ty grubíky a Vi to nekontestí.
Game number 2, it was Fnatic with a little bit of an earlier game focus, a lot of CC on
jsou 3 gruby pro Skarnera zase, protože Razork prostě neumí. Razork neumí prostě kontesty gruby.
I just feel like incorporating this Swain. You know, we've seen already.
Nemá prájo vůbec, to jo, ale ty když nemáš prájo a jsi behind na topu, tak ty můžeš sneaknout jednoho grubíka, a odejít. A to je good. Tady je to blbý, že Mára se nechává chytnout. A Mára zase neflashuje. Mára hraje tak strašně špatně tuhle sérii. Tak strašně špatně. Tak strašně špatně. On reálně mu stačilo neumřít do levelu 11.
So if Skarner is level 6, then usually you're like, oh, he'll probably like just turn an ult right after I flash, and then it's kind of hard to dodge. But like,
to je tak hrozný.
Tarzan was only level 5 there, so
to je tak hrozný, jak Inky je Mára.
On the new pick here for Weibo.
Pretty big deal because the gold lead that was there for Razork still there for a little bit, but has now shrunk. And when looking at the CS, we do see Weibo actually across the board doing well as Jun will be able to get the cancel.
Yeah, it does just crash down his way out. The flash impale from Tarzan, though, and even though the satchel does go off, it does nothing at all. Crisp is going to be the one, unfortunately, to grab the kill, but that is going to put Weibo in the lead.
Mara prostě chce domů do 7. nebe už.
Just like that, Weibo emphatically striking back. This is also on top of their 3 grubs and on top of their dragon that they got. So very quickly, Weibo turning the story.
Big finger is Tarzan, right?
1000 goldu advantage, Gnar 20 CS, 3 gruby, drak.
These early kills definitely really big deal here for Weibo, because when the only gold graph looks good is just on Razork, means that Fnatic is going to have to find some of these peak team fights. They do again have, when it comes to the TC, I think
Oscar dostává hrozně na piču.
Yeah, that's just a gnar right into the turret. They didn't have a boulder because there were minions in the way, and so Oscar is going to survive for the moment.
Od Gnara a umře.
They are able to stop this back as Breathe jumping forward to make sure that Oscar does have to go the long way out. And this could be a lot of plates to go down for Weibo.
A Gnar se strašně dostane teďka.
Yeah, I mean the gnar is absolutely destroying up there.
Ale Light by měl být dead straight. Proč ultí Scannera? Proč ultí Scannera actually? Zabijou ho? Asi jo. OK, beru zpátky. Beru zpátky! Ziggy! Bombičku tam hoď!
Not quite enough, and now Xiaohu looking to make his way in. He's on vision. They have to just all in for this one, I think, as the Comet almost taking down Light, but he should be able to get himself out. Xiaohu, that is a long wrap around.
A oni nevidí, že tam je ta hry, nebo
jako? Here as the satchel comes out, and Noah, sorry, Xiaohu just clears out a wave. And it's like ships in the night. I thought we were going to get a little bit more than that.
But do note, Oscar in and TP to top, whereas Brief TP to bot, so he will be getting a wave and some plates.
Exactly, Fnatic keeping track. They know that there's going to be more resources heading towards bottom side, so they send Oscar in up to the top side, able to continue to extract value out of this play.
Tady měl vzít možná ještě jeden pláteček.
Just going to be walking away, but still it's going to eliminate a wave.
Yeah, still a win. Especially because they traded 1 for 0.
Especially too because the gnar had been just destroying up there. Breathe had gotten a lot of money, extra turret plate, plus
Gold je
had a very
even,
large
ale ty 3 gruby jsou problém a teďka musíme fightit. Teď bude rozhodující fight. Jestli bude 6 grubů pro Weibo, tak je to bet. Pokud to bude 3-3, tak je to actually winnable pro Fnatic. A Razork rekuluje.
Find a little foothold back. Because it was moving towards like 1.5k or something like that, and this lead was continuing to build for Weibo, gathering these tempo advantages, and Fnatic really has put a stop to that, at least for now.
The objectives, though, Weibo, as you pointed out,
kámo, prostě Razor Humanoid tuhle sérii fakt hrajou tak strašně špatně, že mě je zle. Fakt tohle je disgusting.
To play for a Drake, Fnatic also has their bot lane towards this top side of the map, is being matched by at least Light. Looks like Crisp is looking to base. See if Fnatic can deny a single one, but it doesn't look likely.
That is going to be 6. That is every single grub this series that Weibo's been able to pick up for themselves. Vision of Empire just to see exactly what was happening.
Look at the vision from Weibo here. No one is going to walk up. Fnatic now not getting anything towards the top side. Going to have to rotate over, catch that mid wave, and then set up for the dragon fight, because I can't imagine you want to give that one up as well.
Yep, and we have a friend, Orcs, who is a big Ziggs fan.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, you know him as well. But
furt je to winnable pro
Fnatic.
Ale jsem kurva nasranej. Kámo, to je tak jednoduchý, ale prostě skipni camp, jdi na gruby, dej jeden kvéčko přes zeď, auto, W, nebo auto, Ečko, smite a máš jednoho gruba kvečkem out a jsi v pohodě a máš 4 ku 2 grubem. Pak mají 4 gruby Weibo a Fnatic mají 2 gruby. A to je v pohodě.
It's a lot more esoteric than Hooney's Rumble rating, which is did you build Sorkpan boots
and how does he feel on the day? A little bit goes into that.
Well, let's see what Noah can do now that he's gotten the Ludens completed. Lots of burst potential here with that. You've got the gun on top of the bombs, so big explosions possible.
A lot of weaponry.
And we saw previously with Fnatic's play that they pull up on bottom side, they have a lot of setup for him, you know. Holding the target there so you can get the ultimate, sweet spot damage down. And Fnatic want to fight this. They're teleporting, possible teleport from Humanoid.
Ezreal to bude good, no. Ezreal tady je dobrý čas. O, pozor, fight.
It's so dangerous. Like Fnatic's, their circles are online, gentlemen.
Co dělají? Proč týpujou s Oskarem na Draka, když mají 6 grubů, ty debile? Teď on veme celou turet na top lane, ten Gnar. Vám jebe!
All right, Fnatic still just trying to hustle, trying to get themselves in there to defend this bottom outer turret. May not be able to do too much, not going to be able to get to the wave, but should now be able to find a little bit of positioning as Oscarina gets his back stopped by a cheeky
Pane bože, tohle je game losing chyba. Tohle je game losing chyba. To byl Mara TP.
The only thing is they didn't cheat enough because they got the first wave, but then didn't get anyone in for the second wave. Like no one else rotated ahead of time up there.
Tohle je game losing chyba, by the way.
Legit. Gold on this outer tower.
That's just like, before the plates
that's
fall
like
down
a
as well.
600-700 gold swing. I think it was up 300 gold. And now it will be...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So Gnar's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And it's already a huge CS lead.
It was already, yeah, let's be honest, it was already an issue early on, but we didn't have the camera on the issue. I feel like now
so we just could ignore it.
Now the camera is going to be on the issue a lot because Trinity Force fully completed.
If you just ignore it, is it really there?
Yeah, well, yes. Because
Gnar byl jediný člověk, který se nesměl feednout.
Maybe we should blame the observers, but I think that maybe that's wrong. As you can see, Weibo, they're starting this one up, looking to try and take down the Rift Herald, and they've had a bit of a monopoly. It's only one dragon that Fnatic have been able to pick up, but this Baron Pit slash Grub Pit slash Shelly Pit has been theirs this entire game. That is going to be secured here as well. So Tarzan will be able to put that one down. That is another turret destroyed.
That's another.
Yeah, satchel props, exactly.
But with
Tarzan doesn't quite get through, does have to
kill.
The Rift Herald is basically like a cheat sheet for killing mid lane turrets. So
do they even need it?
Yeah, actually with 6 grubs.
They don't need. Oh my.
And there was no one really here.
So Fnatic, it really now is a what, like 3-4 plays in a row are just getting mega out-rotated.
That right there, you show up to the test ready to cheat on it, but you just know all the answers anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
while making your cheat sheet, you did such a good job.
You didn't have to look at your cheat sheet, and that's actually how it's supposed to
go.
You
actually learn.
So now they still have Herald. They got mid lane turret effectively for free. They got topside turret effectively for free. And the gold lead that was very manageable early now for Weibo is about 2.5k. From seemingly just them being solid on up, and I think Fnatic, they posture to me like they're looking for a fight, but Weibo is not giving them any opportunities. So like multiple members of Fnatic are just in the jungle. They're looking, they're trying to find a, and then Weibo is just not handshaking.
They're not gonna walk into the Swain, and
yes. Co to můžou vyhrát, hej? Můžou.
It's a problem. And we'll see whether Fnatic can solve it.
Problém je Gnar, který může teďka díky tomu, jak je feedlay, tak bude dávat strašně damage do Swaina a může one-shotnout Swaina.
Zig skin, so he passed that test as well. Humanoid pushes this wave in towards the bottom side.
One of the issues with Swain 2 is possibly going to show up in this game. It is more difficult to split push, of course, because you don't have mobility. You can stall for a decent amount of time, but it definitely is a viable target to pick off, especially since Weibo, have a very fed Gnar plus an Ahri for the other solo lane option. It's something Fnatic are going to have to work around, which is definitely something that they, have fumbled at points in the past, is being able to control the entire map towards the later stages of the game without dropping those kills. So we'll see if this does become an issue. So far, just look at the vision though. His bottom side jungle is
teďka veme tier 1 zas na botu, 2x goldy.
To be able to, push out on bottom side and be ready for this.
Hele, ten jejich fight, jako když one-shotnou Vahry nebo z Ezreala, což můžou, actually reálně by měli one-shotnout asi Gnara. Mini Gnara. Když bude mini Gnar, tak ho one-shotnou.
If Fnatic can start stacking these Drakes, that can be a big deal, but it goes both ways. I think either of these compositions are really going to feel pretty lackluster once too many resistances are being brought out. And for me, the Swain also, this is where he shines like mid-game. Once you get to late game, I think his lack of mobility, his trouble with actually getting on top of a target and enough you know, magic or armor and magic resist penetration coming through, you are going to get shredded, even if you can drain. So Fnatic, I think they need a good fight. One bad fight, and they go in.
Season assist comes down. There's the combo with the Mega Inferno on the Noah. Locks down that kill impale to try and pull Razork back, but he's pretty tanky. And he's able to get himself out. Meanwhile, a bit of a battle towards the top side, but that is going to be the interruption.
A typou na top lane. Swain recall, Swain recall, Swain recall. Swain recall. Swain recall. To je v piči, on zase dostane dive a ty dva top. Weibo hrál moc dobře s těma 6 grubama. Hrajou pěkně s těma 6 grubama. Já to nechápu. On přežívá. Dlouho přežívá. Okay. Ale já nechápu, že tady prostě Swain nedá reset a nejde na to plně okamžitě, když to úplně obvěz. Že to budou dělat, že budou crossmapovat top lane s 6 grubama.
Taking one of these objectives, kind of like the last game where we saw them say, okay, you have full control of the dragon area. It's
to má Oscar dělat asi chudák, no tady je problém, že ani jeden z hráčů Fnatic si neuvědomil, že tohle je possible play od Weiba.
And now they're not even done. Tarzan here contesting blue.
Bit of a drive-by. Is going to be able to get on top of this blue. Crisp seems to be everywhere this game.
Reálně to dělá každý s 6 grubama, každou hru. Co to dělají?
Bottom side, that turret is just gone. Grand entrance doesn't really do too much. The flash out from
ještě
Razork, the
jako
Mega
flashli
Inferno bomb
aspoň.
just to try and get them out of here. And that is going to work for now.
That's still going to be a flash invested though, with them still getting the objective. So Weibo continue to build upon this lead, now sitting at 4K, and I think all that Fnatic are really holding on to is now that the 2-item spike is hit for Humanoid and a possible Drake, if they can somehow win a next fight, things are looking pretty dire.
Yeah, I honestly, this game just looks so much better from Weibo just because of the quickness in their decision making. You picked Crisp. Okay, and you just invested multiple goals. Do that by ultimate, then you're going to go spend resources on Dragon, so we instantly dive top, and then instantly on the other side, invade jungle, rotate from mid over to push you out, and they still get an objective. So pretty good responses, even though this chain of events kind of started with Fnatic finding the pick onto Crisp. Weibo don't like sit down and just wallow in the fact, they immediately respond.
Now we've got Shelly going for a very long walk through the bottom lane, but Weibo in great position to try and push this one out.
Ta hra je over kvůli tomu, co udělali prostě, že nechali Jackse tak, že nechali Gnara prostě, 6 grubů a Gnara. Celý tým rotajte na gruby a Razork dává reset na gruby. Prostě extrém.
And Shelly will eventually fall, and Fnatic, they lost so much in that exchange.
This is why
Mara a jako Humanoid a Razork tuhletu sérii tak strašně underperformujou, že mě jako šokuje.
Plus you add on the Rift Herald for good measure there. It is just so much extra pushing power for Weibo that they can quickly take multiple objectives. Of course, you're not going to be able to do all of that without this early, very big gold lead. Gnar is literally a full item, over 3,000 gold individually up in the matchup, and so your side lanes are just forfeit. The Gnar is just insane.
Yeah, Breathe is basically
Come on, fakt nechápu 6 grubů a říkám před hrou. Jediná vinkonice je Gnar, že se prostě nafídí, aby potom dokázal dávat damage, a oni prostě mu nechají 5 platů na top lane, 6 grubů.
Razork moving towards that top side of Xiaohu, chasing after Humanoid. Charm going to be avoided, still taking a fair bit of damage. Vision of Empire, fair bit of damage there as well, as True Shot Barrage will clip him. Humanoid down to 50%, Razork trying to get in. Jun, he eventually presses the button, and that is going to be a beautiful pullback, but you can see Crisp, he's still able to get out
ale vidíš to, jak to vyhrávají skoro ty fighty, i když to byl fight, který nebyl optimal. Viděl jsi to? Oni prostě nemají damage, Weibo. A to je Gnar feednutý jak kokot. Ale a to byl ještě špatně engagený Fnatic, jo? Že tam prostě engageol Jun bez toho, bez follow-upu. Ale prostě problém je makro a to jak hrajou.
Really again want to highlight the fact that Breathe lift there is so big. I think in theory that's the one opportunity you'll get, which is try and take him down.
Oni reálně musí nějak zabít Gnara v tom fightu. Že prostě Vi musí zaultit Gnara, když je mini, a zabít ho, one-shotnout. Použij všechno na Gnara a pak to vyhrajou podle mě. Protože pak nemají damage. Ještě je to winnable, Imo. Je to winnable, ale... Je to winnable, hej, je to winnable, protože Weibo neumí closeoutovat hry, ale... Hlavní problém je prostě ten Gnár, no. Gnár je fakt jako problém, protože on má ten damage a má level 14. A mají hodně toho, jelikož je Jax tak strašně behind a Vi je tak strašně behind, nebo Vi není ahead moc, tak oni nemají AD damage reálně. Oni postaví Magic Resist a nebude mít damage. Oni to ví, ne? Ví. Budou. Mají čas. Máme flashe, vidíme žauhu. Gnár tady musí dostat one shot! Normálně zautí Gnára! No, ult, jo! One shotní ho! Kurva, skurvený Gnár, který je v feedle kokot. Oh, close. Oni nemají prostě jak zabít Gnára, protože je tak feedlej. Oh, můj bože.
If Razork gets that smite, if Humanoid has a stopwatch, that could have been the difference maker. None of that though, as Weibo, the confidence, again, brief. It looked like there was for a second there a chance of him dying, but that man knows his limits.
If there wasn't such a big wallet difference, then maybe.
Kurvaný Gnár, který má 4400 goldu, oni by ho one-shotli a pak by tam vyhráli fight, hej. Měli dobrou nápad jako one-shotnou Gnára.
Full control of this game.
Over a 10,000 gold lead as they even up the dragon count as well, and here we go, having a look at the replay.
Ale tady jsme měli zaultit, když byl ještě mini, aby prostě a chain CC, když je mini. A on dodgenul ultimátku Zigsovu a Quečko ultimátku. Mara zaultil nějak brzo, ne?
Yeah, queued back in, was there for the smite, just a tiny bit early on it. The damage had been stopped expertly there.
Nemá zóny u Mara, no, ale jako.
If Humanoid either has the activation of the R, right, the extra damage burst, if he
Mara
has a stopwatch,
z ultimátky, nevím, jak to dodgenul.
Either light or breathe, that could have been the difference maker. I think you can see it on Fnatic's face as well. 10k gold deficit now. Baron here for Weibo. They already opened the base like, what, 5-6 minutes ago for the bot side push.
Well, now these inhibitors are still standing for the minute. There might be another fight, but look at this raid boss making his way forward. This Gnar is more than mega. We need another word.
Giga Gnar.
Giga Gnar, there we go. It's beautiful. As Humanoid should be able to get rid of this minion wave using the Sith Lightning. Breathe now finds himself a little bit alone. I'm trying to do the math. I'm trying to figure out whether 5 members of Fnatic are enough to deal with it. And I think we've got enough tape to say that maybe that is debatable.
Jax dal 90 damage ve fightu. Tohle je dobrý, že se snaží one-shotnout, ale nemají damage už. Ale dobrý, jako... Pentakill?
You stop thinking about trying to kill Light at your peril. As 4 lying on the floor in an instant, and Xiao just trying to keep Noah out of there. These Nexus turrets are next on the menu, and Weibo Gaming will keep themselves alive here in the Swiss stage, and unfortunately we have to say goodbye to Fnatic.
After that game number 1, Weibo looked somewhat out of sorts, but game 2 and 3, calm, collected, and I think particularly game number 3, the decisions they made, how they played the map, Fnatic just had no answer to.
I think incrementally each game deciding to track enemy jungle.
Chat, funguje vám ten kód? Protože tady lidi psali, že jim to nefunguje ten kód. Tak já jsem byl zmatený.
And so this whole year of building hype and excitement for Team Liquid
Tak hej, fandíme Gamu, okamžitě. Funguje, jo, tak vidíte, tak funguje. Shyvana, Ione na blue side, pane bože. Hej kámo, já reálně nechápu ty týmy, co prostě, já třeba nechápu Fnatic, že banujou na Auroru na blue side, nechápu Team Liquid, že banuje Ione na blue side. No opate, jako nevím. Já se na tebe taky dívám velice negativně, jo, jako zatím ti tady dovoluju psát, ale seš sus. Seš sus.
Biggest worry to me is that TL are not able to pressure or threaten that they play the Yone. We may see this become a problem as the tournament goes on or as, you know, this series draft comes on, but critical that they steal away this Aurora, take it away from Kiaya because he's already proved that.
No opate, s tebou já mám problém toho, že já jsem říkal, že když by to tvrdila 1-2 holky o tobě, tak jako reálně si myslím, že to může být, víš, že si to vymysleli, ale pokud to bude prostě 4-5 holek, což mám pocit, že už je v tenhle moment, tak už jako začínám věřit těm holkám.
Is of course still the potential here for TL to swap the Aurora to either solo lane. Ash though, I do feel like especially into Aurora having an AD carry which
Evu jsem ani neviděl. Kdybych viděl Evu, tak tady možná jako Evu jsem neviděl. Já jsem neviděl to video s Evou. Já jsem neviděl poslední 3 videa. Napiš mi na IG tvoji stranu, Dane.
Not going to be enough, and actually the prioritization of the bot lane here and so many drafts thus far this term I feel like have been very, we pick our solo laners and our junglers and then bot lane comes into second rotation. Not the case here.
Chat, já si dívám na draft teďka. Aurora first pick, Jax Ashe. Ezreal Real. Oni vemou Ashe Bram je good tady, hej. Ashe Bram je hodně dobrá do Ezreal Real. Ty 4 vitaminy brát každý den bez přestávky, ano. Jestli myslíš ty Dčko, Magnésko, D3, K2, že jo, a Zinek, určitě brát. Já jsem u Zinku já u Zinku beru dvojnásobnou dávku třeba. Když beru 20 mg, ne 10 mg. Anyway, chat, daj League of Legends. Ne, nechci tady řešit opata, já jsem neviděl poslední 3 storky. Já jsem nad tou dramou, nad tímhle jsem celý nepřemýšlel, prostě. Nebudem to tady řešit, OK? Mě to zase jako... Tady teď prostě League of Legends.
This Aurora could be going all over the place.
I feel like this is warranted given how it's been so far, and obviously Jax means that Kiaya already has his matchup. Him and Levi have been the main characters of GAM. I think we're gonna go 4 for 5 on the jungle bans here. Wouldn't be surprised as that Wukong also taken away.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of going down the Levi priority list. Shyvana, Nocturne, and Wukong are all 3. Some of his most famous and prioritized champions. See if they actually want to, you know, throw another jungle ban, or if they feel like that is enough, and now we can look at solo lanes here.
Gam má lepší draft zatím, no. Jax, Ashe, Braum je good. Do Aurory, Ezreal. Nerváku kreatin se nevysazuje. Je to nejvíc, jako 2,5 gramu nevysazuješ. Why? Jsem teď koukal na záznam a Jankos měl 30-minutový breakdown nad Makrem a Humanoid Performance. Já jsem měl 30-minutový breakdown nad Humanoidem a nad Razorkem. Jank, všechno, co říkal Jankos v tom klipu, tak s tím souhlasím. Borci, Actin, vykřičník Actin, máte to tam, když tak. A... Tak, smiley, only smiley face. Only smiley face. Emote only. Tak, vyřešeno. Jak to, že může psat karty teďka? To má vypko?
As quickly as they possibly can, they shove him into a side lane, they funnel him to replay money, and they try and get to that multi-item point where he can actually carry. And as you said, the Maokai here with the protection Silas ban is the easy follow-up. So this is very like kind of old school TL. They have invested a lot. Of course, there is the new champion that they didn't get to use before in the Aurora, but pretty standard stuff on the side of GAM in answer.
Yeah, I just find it so interesting seeing Tristana Maokai picked as last 2 picks. Because if you've been watching League of Legends throughout this year, you're like, but how did they get through? Because they were so incredibly powerful. I think still really strong as a duo. And I was pretty worried.
Aurora Maokai Tristana, Ezreal Real, to je docela zajímavý. Ale zase Apa hraje Tristanu. Apa je dobrý Tristana hráč. Aurora Maokai Tristana Ezreal. Je to well-rounded. Jax, Orianna, Vi, Ashe, Brown. Dané, dost. Pouštím vás už, teďka. Dané, ticho, hej. Já budu muset přemýšlet, jak se k tobě postavím, Dané, jo? Protože jestli tě taky zabanu, nebo ne. Ale já nevím, kámo, tohle je situace, která je hrozná pro mě, prostě. To je hrozná situace pro mě, prostě. Ale jako legit věřím prostě těm holkám. Protože jich je prostě moc.
Not only because GAM, eliminated them last year, but also because this year they really are shooting for the stars. They have very high hopes with how deep they can go, and they've been frustrated, honestly, with the beginning of this tournament.
And you heard from Umpty earlier on as well, as we jump onto the rift here for game number 1. Umpty was saying that he feels like he has the LCS on his shoulders. It's not just their responsibility for TL, but their responsibility for the region as well to try and bring the LCS back up to the top.
Yeah, we saw Umpty, who we of
Jax,
course
Orianna, Vi, Ashe, Brown.
Back from the start.
For many years.
Z nějakého důvodu si myslím, že TL je lepší draft, ale podle mě Aurory.
In quarterfinals, and I think this tells really not in terms of performance.
Webka, jo, promiň, já jsem nečetl chat. Já přemýšlím, proč je TL draft better. Když botlane je jednoznačně lepší Gamu, mid Arian, Ori Tristana, Ori je dobrá do Tristany, Va je dobrá do Maokaje, Jax Aurora nevím ten matchup, ale ta Aurora z nějakého důvodu to dává podle mě moc AoE damage a oni budou, jak GAM bude engageovat do TL, tak Aurora bude mít strašně easy 5-man ult a kvéčko, dvojitý Včko.
Bring all the presents to put them underneath the tree. It's beautiful. Look at this, the synergy.
Okay, but he doesn't want the presents, Atlas.
I know the tree's moving away, but that is theoretically the idea that Elio's going for, right?
And it's very interesting for GAM to go against late swap against TL, who in the LCS, our biggest strength and the most talked about point for TL was how good they are in lane swaps, both the ones that they start out, but also the ones that they react to.
Ty vole, jak je to docela inky. GAM furt ty swapy nemají moc pohlídaný, hej?
I also would just ask, do you not want the 2v2 of Ashe Brom?
Borci, opět opakuju, nechci vidět, nechci řešit opata, nechci vidět žádný opat věci. Já jsem o tom reálně neměl čas přemýšlet. Moji stranu znáte, já věřím těm holkám. Protože jich je prostě moc, já jsem se k tomu už vyjadřoval a nechci se k tomu vyjadřovat znova. Nechci znova na to upotávat věc, je to věc, která mi není příjemná, je to věc, která je prostě nechutná, pokud je to pravda. A já to nechci řešit.
And Levi are both the really big carries, and so if you are in a lane swap, then Kiaya should be further behind. We're going to see the rotation.
Je tady League of Legends a pokud se něco jinak bude zase, budete tady mít emoty. Tady není ani support, kámo. TL to stompne. Jax je jako hard to dive, ale tady prostě je to free, protože on ani nemá level 2, ale má okay to na intil. Maokai, jenom abyste věděli, co má udělat Maokai, je nikdy nedávat dvojitý Včko na to, aby gap closenul Jaxe. On má flash kvéčknout, on má dát flash na gap close a potom dvojitý Včko na miniona, aby resetnul agro. Tam nikdo neměl umřít. Tam nikdo neměl umřít. OK? V tom diveu. Jednak TL, Core JJ a Jaron to rushnuli a divovali 2v1, když tam jsou 4 lidi, protože mu nechtěli dát level 2, který je irrelevant, level 2 ho zabijou anyway. A druhok Amty dát flash dvojitý Včko na ten target. Mně přijde, reálně tady mi přijde, kdybychom sledovali play-in týmy. Oba dva jsou play-in týmy. Teďka, z toho, co jsem viděl na tom lane swapu. Jak prostě support není na tom, aby protectil Jaxovi, Jax XP, nebo Jax dive. Tristana si tam v pohodě farmí 1v2. A ten je dead, ne? On můžou divenout. Ne, on to naintil, ale je dead anyway. Kámo, legit, já se dívám na 2 play-in týmy. Já se legit dívám na 2 play-in týmy. Jakýkoliv tenhle tým, reálně já jsem si myslel, že tým Liquid jsou lepší, ale jakýkoliv tenhle tým bude hrát třeba proti Weibu, tak 100% prohraje. Fnatic byli lepší než oba dva tyhle týmy. Škoda, že nevyhráli proti tomu Weibu, to by vyhráli, kdyby tam draftnuli TL nebo něco, tak vyhrál. A to říkám potom, co jsem viděl Razork a Humanoid Performance.
Oh, Emo does see Core JJ, doesn't know about Umti, but shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I think they know that there might be a ward there. You can see the sweeper is
Loser gets eliminated, jo, tahle série. A dneska je draft. Draw, ne draft, draw.
On top of Impact, who does just bounce himself away.
Stealth, man.
That's a heck of a thing.
I'm glad it's only been one Twitch so far. Really saw in that game, I think, what it can feel like, and I do think the nerfs for Aurora have kind of helped out. I remember the first time we saw her.
Yeah, and that didn't look okay at all.
Didn't look very fun for the opposing AD carry. Big though here from GAM to start off with, again, a 2-kill lead on one of their two biggest carries. And this setup, Levi, still going to obviously be one of the big points of the composition, but can't carry the same way you can with Wukong, you can with Nocturne. So Kiaya already having a lead on this Jax is a really big deal.
One thing I do want to say for Team Liquid is that TL have a lot of ways to deal with a Jax trying to come in. Bramble Smash, fantastic, but Buster Shot is one of the best anti-Jax abilities in the game. As soon as that Counter-Strike does come in, you just boop him away, and it doesn't really do too much. But that is in team fights later on. And so far in this early game, the Jax being put in such a great position means that his ability to flank in team fights not quite as relevant.
Zkoušel si nejít jeden den, chci zkusit ten půst, co se dělá dvoudenní nebo třídenní, ale teď ne, teď bulkuju. Tak. Já jsem překvapený, fakt jsem šíleně překvapený, že prostě TL jsou tak špatný. Ale reálně GAM jsou taky špatný, jo, ale... On ho knocknul dobře, on ho dobře knocknul, ten Maokai. Tu Ashe. A tady na botu se děje co? Oni se snažili zabít...
Last time the dive looked a lot better for GAM. This
ty pičo! Okay.
I was about to say, good trade for TL. They brought that gold lead a lot closer. But with that pick, Easy Love keeping it in favor of GAM.
Easy Love with the easy arrow. able to snipe him on the recall, gets the extra kill here.
The blind as well.
Do kolika ti kilo bulkuješ? 85, teď mám 81.
APA walking back now. Actually, it's not very quick.
Ale reálně podle mě, až hitnu 85 kilo, tak budu chtít 90. Tak, Jax, podíváme se na XP, even top, ale Jax má 2 killy. Vi je půl level ahead. Oriana je level ahead. Ještě trošičku ahead. A hej, Gam jsou úplně šíleně ahead na XP, what the fuck?
GAM are just going to back away, look to catch this one as it heads closer towards their turret. APA splitting on towards that top side, and Impact will make his way back to the lane. But did have to expend Flash, trying to deal with that dive, and so possibly could be a revisit angle.
With Chemtech Drake already out of the rotation, you have a really high odds of getting a really good soul. So I think getting early Drakes is big. On the same occasion for TL though, getting a Tristana with 6 rubs is something that we've seen for, I assume, everywhere for the entirety of summer. Yep. Just makes your side
lane 183 kat neplánu.
Really obnoxious to deal with. Tristana already has so much killing, turret killer power between her E.
Kamo, ten Easy Love hraje fakt ale dobře tu až. On si nenechává nic líbit 1v2 a je. OK. Tohle bude zajímavý. Tady bude sice Malkej první, ale oni nemají damage, ne? Zabít Jaxe. Škoda, že tady Vi nedala scan a nehitla tu. Kdyby tady Vi dala scan a nehitovala tu vardu, tak víš, co se stane? Tohle je taková taktika, kteří využívají jen dobří hráči. Že ty vlastně, když ty jdeš sem a skenuješ a někdo fightí a dáš sken a vidíš vardu, tak i gank tak můžeš využít za junglera. Nehituj tu vardu, zkuste to v soloku, jestli hrajete jungle, jo? 100% to bude fungovat. Představ si, jsi jungler a dáš tady sken a v tady mají enemy vardu. Tu vardu reálně ignoruj a proběhni to. Hodně často se stane, že tě nebudou vidět, že si tě nevšimnou. Protože oni si musí všimnout toho, že ta varda je disabled. Jestli mi rozumíš, protože jim zmizí vize, ale nevidí tebe. Oni vidí to, že jim zmizela vize, ale nevidí tebe. A reálně to fakt jako funguje dost dobře na gank. Kamo, Gam sompuje TL, by the way.
And APA teleporting in for 2 caster minions as well. And so, of course, you know, Kiaya could have possibly pushed in another wave and really caused a lot of damage.
Tady tu věc neví ani profíci někteří, jo? Ví to jenom ti nejlepší profíci, tady tu věc z vizí, co jsem vám poradil.
When you're playing Jax, and even though I do agree with you, I think Tristana can keep her distance, but if Tristana is using resources to deal with the Jax, that's still a win for you.
Nebo jako, možná ví to, ale nepoužívaj to.
I think Kiaya is in a really,
ale u vás v soloky to bude 100% fungovat.
As long as he doesn't overextend into the CC for TL. That's something that we haven't seen yet. When it comes to the 5v5, I think the GAM comp is still good, but it does feel like it's very reliant on
8 let to nehraju a mi je jasný, že to tak funguje. Moje babička taky ví, že to tak funguje, ale nedělá to, chápeš? Tam jde o to, že to nedělají ty profíci.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Kiaya, when you're watching GAM, is always the most consistent player and always such a threat. He's just, even in games that they lose, he's able to do so much to get them, you know, openings in it. And this game, he is the biggest gold lead, and the Jax will be able to apply some split push pressure. So TL, here we go though.
Oni nemají damage, ale vůbec. TL nemá damage reálně vůbec. Zatím. Aurora scaluje strašně s damagem. Tristana taky strašně scaluje s damagem. A Ezreal taky jako potřebuje midgame, aby měl damage. Gam teďka, když bude forsovat všechno, co můžou forsovat, tak budou jako mega v číčku.
And they try and keep APA side laning for a long time till he can get to multiple items. And then try and
6 grubů pro TL je to issue. Bude to issue, protože Tristana. Mají jakoby... Mají hrozně jednoduchou win kondici teďka feednout Tristanu na sidelane, protože ta Tristana veme turetu za turetou. Je to velký problém.
You mentioned the Orianna Shockwave that will be delivered by Levi, who's now bottom.
Big cancel. JJ moving forward. Kiaya probably just going to
via balance
this wave, but that is a cease and desist, and JJ picks up.
Levi to naintil, by the way. Viděli jste? A on mu pomohl, Tlapa mu pomohl. Nice, dobrý dodge tady. Flash, nice. Nice, double kill. Let's go, bráško. Proč flashuje, by the way? Ale tady, jak Rel skákala, tak Levi měl sidestepnout to dvojitý Včko. A nenechat se tím hetnout, ale kámo, tohle je... Papatiel? Papatiel? Ale těch 6 grubů je furt problém, hej? Těch 6 grubů je furt problém. Oni to můžou kdykoliv comebacknout, kvůli 6 grubům to můžou kdykoliv comebacknout.
And honestly, Emo even get in there too. With Emo with the assist, passes them the ball for the big dunk, but he just finds score JJ right here, and Levi says, great, I will immediately run him down.
Crucial here is that Aftershock falls off very early.
Vidíš, jak to tam mohl dodge. Jenom takový malinký sidestep a nedostal by hit tím dvojitým Včkem. Ale vole, Tlapka mu stejně pomohl s tou ult. Pěkný. Pěkný, pěkný, pěkný.
So much Mr. 100%. Yeah! Worthwhile investment. You get the bot side turret. I think these faces really tell it all.
Yeah. And Levi was already ahead. Already had his sundered sky there. You know, you saw the animation on the auto attack from the Vi. So really pushing forward. And then here you see it. He just hovers on Kiaya. Kiaya mining up extra gold off all these turret plates. His Trinity Force is done. GAM here moving in now to take away the Rift Herald as well, which will go a long way towards these towers.
Yeah, so should be able to use that to
Jax, Vi.
This mid-outer turret, something like that, try and open up the map. Of course, a little bit harder for a Jax to get towards that particular one. And 3,000 gold. That's what we're approaching here for GAM. Almost all of that money is into Kiaya.
Chicago Holdy do píči. Levi dělá strašně dobře, že vždycky je strašně head jako junglera. Strašně. To legit, on může solo killnout možná. Ten champ je broken. Dat solo go... on to šernul. Blok. Má TP, Jax, nice TP, nice TP, nice TP. Škoda toho arrowu. Oh.
Feels like one of the first wins that TL have got. It's a minor one, you get a teleport, but it buys you a little bit of time. I again want to highlight, like, this is a Levi that was heavily targeted in draft. And he still is having an incredible impact on this game. Very clearly, we saw there with that flash mechanically has hit all his Qs so far, looking clean on the Vi.
Četa Madmon Party, co bude dneska, to je o čem to je? Mě psal Michal, že bych tam mohl dojet, ale ty vole, jako záleží, jestli já skončím stream v 8, tak já tam nechci jet 2 hodiny do Prahy autem. Nový produkt, to vím, nový produkt.
Matches up really well into both of the solo laners.
Ale jakože kdo bude všechno v tom na ty party, hej?
Alright, we gotta see what the team fight from Team Liquid will look like. They have the extra shield from the lockets built by Umpty.
Jeď tam, bude prdel, nebude to streamovaný. Nemám kde, musím jet tam a zpátky. 2 hodiny tam, 2 hodiny zpátky.
Kiaya going in. Yeah, he's just gonna get jumped on. I'm not sure about that one. Twisted Advance does come on through his impact. He turns up at the same time. He's between worlds.
Viděl jsem správně, že skočil in, ty pičo. Sáp si to může vychaseovat. Hej, Levi by mohl long chaseovat a zaultit, protože má ultaku. Vyzvední ale jedeme. Maty, ale počkej, já to vůbec nemám po cestě, ne, za tebou. A ty vyzvedni mě? Kdy Porsche a kdy mě vyzvedneš?
The amount of emote usage in this game is so much higher than in our previous series, as there's the Nature's Grasp. Elio just stands beside Levi, gets himself out of there, knows where his bread's buttered.
To je strašně funny, jak ten Herald je useless, když nemáš žádný graby.
So Umpty using the ultimate there to ensure that they don't actually get the mid lane. I don't think you ever really expect to get a kill there, but just making sure that the mid lane turret doesn't fall. TL
Teďka, hele, začíná být problém to, že Aurora začíná scalovat. Tristana teda jako furt ne, ale Tristana má 6 grubů, aby scalovala.
I know that the large part of this team has changed, the expectations have changed, the form has changed, but GAM right now still with a big lead.
Yeah, certainly, and you know, to kind of even
Proč nemá Rod of Ages Aurora at present time, však je to useless na ten item. Liandris je reálně nejvíc OP v meči tam.
Power of the 6 grubs, which we saw in the previous series. They have the ability here to claw back in the gold deficit that they're facing right now. It's just that such an impressive opening to the game here from GAM gives them a lot of ways to dictate the pace here with
Chat, my fandíme GAM, je tady někdo, kdo fandí Americe? My 100% fandíme GAM kvůli tomu Plashownovi. Ten Plashown je goated. Karzy fandí Americe? OK, tak rychlej timeout na 2 hodiny.
To open up some more space for them to really thrive on these multi-item power spikes that we
tady nejapuje a neovlivňuje tady diváky. Chtělo by to zrychlit tu hru, ale program. Chtělo by to nějaký fight. Tady nechceme farmit. To farmení není good. Já fandím tomu, na koho mám naloženo s lepším kurzem. Kdo tady má sazeno? Přiznejte se. Jedničku, kdo má sazeno, 2, kdo ne? Já jsem to reálně nechápal, ale Češi jsou hrozný gambaři. Vy jste normálně závislí na gambě. Češi jsou fakt gamba addict. Flash má, ne? Ani nemusí flashovat, ne? Je to Jax.
As he presses counter strike and says no, you're not.
Yeah, like two members is not enough. Like Kiaya is fed.
Well, it's okay. Core JJ's coming up, so let's see whether 3 members is going to be enough. As at least they do get him out of the way of this turret. And
včera jsem se bavil s kamošem a týpek pro game byl už 3 miliony. Ale dá tam to zlato. Do not get it twisted. Keep gambling.
But I do think that was a necessary, force by TL. Yeah, they had to invest in Maokai ult to make sure they can trade towers. But
eventuálně to musí ten jackpot přijít.
Moving forward and trading up without your responses, then it would look even worse. Imagine the world where Kiai actually was just able to stay on top side, and then the rest of the team
tady se mi to začíná nelíbit program, hej. Čím díl se nic neděje, tím více mi to nelíbí pro game, protože protože ta Aurora a Tristana farmí. Furt je tam Jaxito, jo, Jaxito je dobrý. Ale ta Aurora začíná být sus. Nevím, co to udělá. Potřebuji vidět nějaký engage fight od Gamu. Řekl bych ideálně tak během 4-5 minut bych potřeboval mít jeden velký nebo dva malý nebo jeden velký engage od Gamu. Zabít pár lidí. Kamo Levi je tak feednutý, že reálně je hrozně silný. Ale Aurora není balance, WTF. Počkej, Aurora není balance, nebo jungler je balance? Guys? Jungle is balance? Hej, legit, takhle vypadá solo queue jungler. Všichni jungleři v kompetitivě jsou většinou useless, protože nechávají XP a goldy svým spoluhráčům. Ale takhle jak hraje Levi a jak se jim vysmal ten Brown. Takhle jak hraje Levi, tak hraje jak solo queue jungler. Nerv jungle. Ten je taky dead, ne? Holy, on ho pulnul back. Kámo, tohle je bouračka. Tady tohle je super, tohle jsem chtěl vidět, ten nějaký fight. Nějaký takhle fight jsem viděl od Damu, teďka to zase feeluju. Teď by měli forcenout tady ten fight ještě jednou a vyhrál hru. Sterak je balance, look at Sterak, on je 1v2, jungle, proti solo laneru. Kámo, prostě halo. A co to je za sterak? Co to je za item? 1000 HP štít. Ten item ti dá 80 AD, ten asi ty 20% a 1000 HP štít. Kdyby to nebylo melee only, tak to stavím každou hru na AD carryčku, by the way. Ale oni to dali melee only.
Just going to be taken down, bonked on the head with a lamppost. Kia will continue his push.
Však už je nerv, ten nerv, co dostal, není adekvátní. Reálně by to mělo dostat ještě trošičku nerv. Moc ne, tak 10% ještě nerv bych tomu dal, tomu staraku. A pak by to bylo balance. No nic, hoši, tady teďka můžou engagenout a zavřít oči a vyhrát, takže by měli forsovat Barona a teď by měli forsnout Barona, Jax by měli jít na mid, force Baron a turn. Tím jak forsnou Baron, tak by měli turnout. Pravdu tady lowkey intuje, že se nechává napoukovat jak noob. Ale začnete Barona a dejte turn z Vi. A Ash Arrow.
The double AD carries for TL have their 2 items. That is true. So their dream
prostě Radek starý musel vymyslet nejvíc OP item. Skurvenej sterak. 10 let tady brečím na ten item. A 10 let se sterak směje. One shot, Aurora. Ale ne, Jax to stejně ještě najde. Aurora dala velký damage tomu Ezrealovi. Wow.
That one worked out so much better for TL. The dream scenario becomes a bit of a reality. That's a little
Kdo dostal ten shutdown?
That's a little bit of extra money.
Aurora nebo?
For the side of Team Liquid. They would love to be able to get an objective bounty, but there's no objective easy for them to
Gam jsou furt v pohodě, jen to nesmí naintit znova, takhle jak to naintili, tak to nesmí ještě jednou naintit. Můžou vůbec zabít? No, zralo ho můžou zabít.
Moving in, there is not a lot of damage in this area.
Musel by tam být Tristana.
They want to try and take him out, but he just walks his way out of there. Yeah, fair enough, understandable there as well. And oh man, let's go back to this fight here because I've got something.
Tady Ezreal dostane Ash dostane totální one shot, ne? Od toho TP. Tady je blbý, že dávají do choku. Oni tady udělají, Gam tady dělá klasickou chybu. Gam by měli fightit tady, ne tady. Boom, co to je za damage? Jo, víš, tady nechceš engageovat, tady je to moc deep, tady za tady tou vlnou. Tady chceš engageovat nejméně tady. A i tady je to takový sus, protože lidi můžou flashovat přes zeď.
Very warranted response here.
Yeah, exactly what the TL coaching staff want to see there. Some good plays. Little bit of
Spawn's not ready to celebrate yet.
He was celebrating at the beginning, a little bit surprised at the end there. You know, kind
still
of
4.5K.
Kind of metered. Like they don't, as I said, they don't actually get an objective out of that. It truly would have been a step towards a comeback if they, you know, got an objective bounty shut down. But you put a dent in that gold difference. It's still going to be dragon stacking for GAM though, and TL trying to push on the other side of the map. They've got a control ward on Baron and APA trying to split push with Tristana. Again, this is his comfort zone on the Tristana, continually shoving waves.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Let's just flip a Baron as the hawkshot sails by.
Komu jsem chtěl napsat? Michalovi jsem chtěl napsat.
So that's going to give that one away. They now get some vision inside the pit, down to 50%. This one's not going down very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. As CoreJJ getting a little bit of a stun, the rest of GAM moving on over. That is a nature's grasp. But I don't think there's any follow-up here. So GAM, they do just push them out of the way. Opportunistic, kind of like.
Byla pravděpodobnost, že se to mohlo jmenovat Herdin's Gage. Kámo, kdyby Herdin měl svůj item v lolku.
Very specific knowledge as to what could happen.
To by bylo crazy.
Even if an Aurora is 100 CS
behind, že Sterak je dotaž,
6,000 gold behind.
Já bych kámo, ale můžeš to představit, kdyby prostě to byl Herdin's Gage, on je to planer a ještě by to hrál, ještě by to kupoval ten item, protože to broken, on by reálně nezavřel hubu. Kdykoliv, kdyby my jsme hráli nějaký streamer clash nebo cokoliv s Herdinem, tak on by nezavřel hubu. On by furt japoval, on by mě furt tauntoval, že Sterak je broken.
In this game with even though
teda
both
Herdin's
teams
Gage by to
have
byl.
possible pick tools, both teams also have vision checking tools with the Ash Hawkshot as well as the Maokai saplings.
Však tu hubu nedavře ani teď. No teď furt japuje, že je třinásobný mistr České republiky.
Can even use the Ezreal ulti as well to check the Baron pit. I do actually think that GAM should just start up this Baron.
Nebylo by to tak hrozné, jak Melicharia povést, no tak kámo, na žvanichara nemá nic. Ven prostě mu ta huba mele, když má těch zubů míň, tak má prostě proříčelící hubu a pořád mele, víš? Mě by třeba pomohlo mít o pár zubů míň, protože já neumím mluvit. Vzhledem k tomu, jak to funguje u Melichara, tak mě by pomohlo prostě 1-2 zuby a naučil bych se, uměl bych mluvit prostě. Nepotřebuji všechny, jako všechny stoličky, to ne, to zase jako. Za druhýho žvanichara tady nepotřebujeme.
Level 15, by the way, 2 levels up over Impact, so still very far ahead.
Karzi, co jsem viděl za nějaký klip, že jsi byl s Yamatem a s Evil Dominatem a říkal si, že se zvožral jak Doga na českém lance a pak jste nás zničili ve finále. To je pravda. Ale ty jsi tam zapomněl říct, že já jsem spal 2 hodiny na schodech. Že já jsem se taky ožral tak strašně moc, že jsem spal 2 hodiny na schodech. A to byl můj spánek v noci. Jo. Hej borci, jenom kvůli tomu, že Checkout má taky sponzor Actin, tak ne, jsem Checkout a nevymýšlím si story, OK? To nezná, jako když máme stejného sponzora, tak to neznamená, že máme identický story. Vaj! Nice. Ale kámo, oni tady získali baronka. Kolik získají baronů? Jaxi to, hej, Jax je fakt problém. Ty lidi to umí hrát toho Jaxe najednou. AK, kecám, neumí hrát Jaxe, lidi pikou Tristana Ezreal do Jaxe. Proč chlastáš před finálem, máš mladým hráčům příkladem, vážně si klesl z mých očí. Já jsem se tam jel ožrat, nehrát. Po roce a půl, kdy jsem neviděl nikdo z české scény a ještě mě v té české scéně lidi bavili, tak jsem se tam jel ožrat. Já jsem se jel ožrat i vyhrát, ty jsi mladý koko, čau. Byl jsi mladý, čávo. Kámo, tam jeli jiný bomby. V Herrinovém týmu tam fetovali, vole. Herrin byl úplně na tiltu, že tam prostě byl jeho spoluhráč, nebo jeden spoluhráč tam byl sfetovaný. Nemohl se soustředit, reálně byl 0-10 každou hru. To byly bomby, Starý dobrý hitpoint, ty píčo. Flash Q je good, ale jako Tristana nemá dvojitý Včko nebo flash. Tlapa.
Yeah, can't actually reposition to try and get behind his tanks. And this flash forward from Kiaya, making sure that all 3 are inside that one. The shockwave as the cherry on top, and there was no way they were going to escape from there. Kiaya is just amazing.
Come on.
That said, gold lead is what? It's basically it's okay. It's back. I'm like. It's basically way worse.
Yeah,
you guys trying to cope?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I saw them get the bounties, right? Yeah, and obviously the team fight was rough. If they got something.
Another one's on the board here.
Another bounty?
Another bounty is on the board.
We're trying to melt through this dragon.
7K, ale jako GAM taky nehrajou dobře, jo, ale prostě mají lepší. Mají lepší draft. Tady je to, ne, borci, tady je to takový sus. GAM sus. Sus. Tady je to sus. OK, Inti. Kámo, Easy Love neví, jak funguje Aurora, by the way. Reálně lidi, oni neví, jak Aurora funguje. A kvůli tomu prohráli, protože Ash neví, jak funguje Aurora.
They're gonna get another objective bounty here too. They're gonna keep pushing, keep chaining. Team Liquid continue the push.
They still haven't taken mid lane.
Těch 6 grubů je tady furt huge. Na to tak koukám, no 2 play-in týmy rozhodně, hej. Já musím začít dávat pozor, kámo. Ale celou dobu těm GAM idiotům říkám, tady to nevypadá dobře, proč to běžte pryč, proč to tady furt chasujou. Oni mají 0 HP na midu, Umty to tam teda začne intit, ale i sleduj Ashe s tím flashem. Co dělá?
What's crucial as well, even though APA ends up losing the fight against Emo,
na Worlds je 8 normálních týmů, zbytek je play-in, s tím dokážu souhlasit.
And EasyLove being eliminated immediately means that all the gold on GAM is just not being utilized.
Yeah.
As a result,
I think we're allowed to celebrate a little bit this time.
Well, now it's only 3K at this point.
You were still worried, I think, when you were looking up towards the top of that screen right there.
My math's not great, Atlas.
Well, I actually expected that TL might have clawed back a little bit further last time at the same time, but this is only 3,000. This is the lowest the gold lead has been almost all game.
When he said his math's not great, I thought you were going to say...
Ezreal 4 itemy, Tristane.
Oh,
Tady je Aurora je problém, 3 itemy. Co musí Ashe postavit, aby prostě přežila? GA reálně by si měla postavit. Cápek reálně by neměl stavět Last Whisper, ale GA. Protože stejně jako, k čemu je mu víc damage? K ničemu. On potřebuje potankovat tu Auroru, nějaký přežít. A nebo reálně prostě bejt 3 kilometry za fightem. A koukat se na to, jak ten fight probíhá. Protože nemá flash cleanse, hej, tak teďka prostě legit se musí dívat z fontánky na to, jak hraje jeho tým a modlit si, že to vyhrajou v 4v5.
And open up an area of safety there for Team Liquid. So now as they push forward, you know that Yon and APA are very comfortable in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a 60 CS lead on Yon as well.
Baví se pořád s Lémkou, s jakou Lémkou. Kdo má lepší late game? Lepší late game. Honestly TL, ale jenom trošičku méně, protože když Tristana bude mít 6 itemů, Tristana zrovna jako Jax je dobrý do double AD, ale Tristana ho vždycky může odhodit ultimátkou, hej?
He does have teleport available. I don't know if he caught it on this wave. Is looking to back. Deathcap is such an
insane celkem fascinuje, že oni raději postaví ten, jak se jmenuje tady ten modrý, Frozen Heart i ten na Jaxovi než Zonia. Mně přijde Zonia mega OP na Jaxovi, protože pak ty máš burst. To tvoje kombo ult dvojitý Včko má hrozně velký damage potom. Ani tady musí jít skrz midlane, ne skrz choke. Jax je noob, Jax měl jít takhle. Jax měl jít takhle, noob. Ezreal dává dobrý damage. Tady je Jax úplně k hovnu, hej. Oni to pointili! Co je to za damage, ta Aurora? Ty pičo, ta Aurora, to je došit, ale Jax. Legendary. Kámo, top laneři nejsou balance. Co se kurva děje v těch videohrách? Kde je damage? Já se chci podívat na damage. Reálně top laneři. Damage. Jax mega MVP, ale hej. Reálně Levi je nejlepší hráč. Zahrál nejlíp. Ale Aurora, která je 4000 goldu behind, tak stejně prostě v tom fightu udělá takový bordel. To je celkem nechutný ten champ. A to je nerfnutý champ. To je nerfnutý na tomhle patchu už.
That was a warm-up.
Game one's always a warm-up. You heard it here first. Let's see whether TL can turn it around or whether it is indeed GAM time. Because it felt like GAM time. I'm not gonna lie, it felt like GAM time.
Game number one was definitely GAM time. Hopefully we can change the clocks for this game.
Well, now we have changed the lights because they can be turned off by GAM if they do get a knockdown.
Ona ještě není ani povolený to signovat hráče, ale oni už to domlouvají předem. To se neboj.
Just finish strong. wrong. You just stick the landing and you're good on that one.
Mají dostává solidní flame na Twitteru, protože Janko ho skolal z nohy. Kdybych byl třeba anglický streamer a řekl bych to, co jsem řekl, že jsem vyhejtil Razorka a Humanoida tuhle sérii, tak okamžitě na Twitteru a na Redditu je hate na Razorka a na Humanoida. Ale musel bych být americký streamer nebo anglický streamer a mít třeba těch 4000, 5000 diváků jak Jankos. Víš, že prostě lidi jsou ovce v tomhle. Když nějaký jejich streamer něco vyflamí, tak to všichni začnou říkat. Ale furt je to lepší, než prostě Jankos reálně má pravdu, víš, Jankos prostě ty hře rozumí. Yone, Shivana, Aurora, ban, Nocturne, first pick. Oriana pick, oni vemou Ahry Nocturne, to je v pohodě, ne? Nebo? Syndra je lepší do Oriany než Ahry. Ahry je taková... Ale jako Ahry je taky good tady. Ahry je taky good tady. Dvě imobilní ADčka. Jen do levelu 6 je špatná laning fáze proti ty Orianě z Ahry. A můžou hrozně abuzovat, pokud teďka piknou Ahry a oni piknou jungle agresivní GAM, tak můžou strašně abuzovat invady. Veme Nico mid, hej. Komu fandíš volku? GAM, určitě jednoznačně GAM. Chci, aby GAM vyhrál ten zápas. Jednak všichni se budou smát Americe a bude to funny a druhak prostě já fandím GAM, protože jsou tam ten play show mi sympatiák. Dělá show. Mně chybí, že lidi nedělají takovou show, jak třeba dělá ten CEO toho GAMu a takové věci. A i hráči, já bych chtěl, aby hráči dělali nějakou show, víš? Aby tam byli nějaký prostě showmeni. Nějaký Conor McGregor, League of Legends. Na Rivčeku má dávka rozhovor s Tomem, jako na YouTube. Nech se na to kouknem. Až Bram Oriana. Tady by byl Tam Kench, kámo, po piči. No joke, tady kdyby piknuli Tam Kencha, tak mi stojí péro a sázím celý svůj majetek na GAM Esport. Máš dobrou laning fázi proti Kajse anyway, counteruješ to totálně Nocturna, je to dobrý i proti Niko. Lidi zapomínají na takový piky, jako je Tam Kench třeba proti Nocturnovi a tak, ale prostě to je hrozně OP. Nebo tady mohli piknout Zaju, ale Zaja problém je špatná laning fáze, hej. Nechceš pikovat Zaju a oni pak piknou Lushna třeba nebo něco takového, to je mega hard to play. Real Leona ban, to jsou Real Leona jsou reálně dva nejlepší supporti na botlane. Nic jiného není to jako Braum je good, Braum je good, Braum je good.
Nico doesn't really enjoy that, when she wants to just kill everyone with that one pop blossom. But the Leona going to be taken away makes a lot of sense here. JJ, not a whole lot of other engage options, although, you know, Nautilus and Alistair still up. There's the Wukong.
Já napíšu Michalovi, kolik je tam lidí a kdo tam je, a on mi řekne hodně lidí. Hodně lidí.
We know that this champion can also get completely out of control, but it can also be an orange buff, you know, on the other side of things. And how are TL going to deal with it? That's going to be the question, as it will be locked away now.
Gnar je good. Hej, tady ten GAM draft je good, ale nelíbí se mě tam prostě Oriana Ashe immobility proti Nocturniko. Nelíbí se mi. Ale ty vole, fakt, kdyby tam prostě byl, kdyby tam byl ten Tam Kench na supportovi, tak já to ztratím, já bych to reálně ztratil. To by byl tak strašně dobrý draft.
Kai'Sa are like the strongest in an isolation. You can't pick Nautilus in the Braum. That's just a completely miserable situation. So it's instead gonna be the Rakan, and Rakan I think is also better.
TL mají taky dobrý draft, jako Rakan, Niko, Nocturne, Kai'Sa je dobré.
This is a classic.
The B5 Renekton. Renekton that we personally dislike the most is that
Renekton je dog shit.
That's, well, I mean, it's not anymore. We'll see what
Sam ten nebyl open?
Let's not get.
Ale reálně s tím kompem je Renekton OK. Ty chceš jít all in, chceš dát AoE bombo kombo. Ale pikuješ prostě Renektona do Gnára. Nevím. On blindne Gnára a oni piknou Renektona do toho, jo? Nebo viděl jsem správně?
I was really thinking that we might have gotten on.
I don't know about this one. We'll see. I mean, GAM, with the way that they played in game number 1,
Sheep transfers, co to je toto?
Such strong early game leads. This team comp is just so sturdy if they get ahead. Like, their team fight is insanely good. TL, they do have speed on their side. They are a bit more flimsy.
Oscar podepsal Fnatic, jo, Jackies podepsal Giants, to je dobré. Heretics, Carlsen, Sheo, Flaket. Jankos Wunder out, OK. Carmen Korn Vlady, Larsen prodlužuje v roll. Nevím, Reeker, místo Niskyho v SK Gaming. Team BDS irrelevant, 1-1 free, nuke, ice, Parus. Irrelevant je dobrý topař, hej. Ice je dobrý AD. Parus nevím, ale mám pocit, že to je cápek, co vyhrál hitpoint, teda EU Masters dvakrát. A 1-1 free nevím, hej. Team Vitality, Nako. Čajek, Karzi, Hillisang. 07 Karzi. TBH, cokoliv, co není VTO, tak je upgrade, honestly. Kamo, já nechápu, že... Pamatujete si ten narrativ, kdy se rok a půl hypoval VTO? A my jsme scoutili v 100 Thieves, my jsme scoutili na midu ABDGho, VTA a dalších asi 6 nebo 7 midlanerů. A celý můj tým v 100 Thieves, že VTO je insane. Papa Smithy, VTO je insane, musíme získat VTA. Já se podívám na VTO gameplay a já svolám meeting a říkám, jestli berem VTA, tak já končím. Okamžitě berem ABDG, VTO je dog shit, nechápu, jak to, že vyhrál dvakrát MVP. Prostě ta francouzská komentátorka nebo...
Very dead, ladies and gentlemen. And you welcome TL. Sometimes you have to sing some praises to get some kills.
And they have put in so much prep for people invading for lane swap wards.
Ale legit prostě, já jsem svolal meeting a řekl jsem, já si to pamatuju doteď. Já nechápu, jak tady ten hráč může mít dvakrát MVP v Evropě. A Rookie of the Split, já to legit nechápu. Ten člověk je úplně dog shit. A celá Evropa o něm tvrdí, že jsou good, že je good, že je insane good. A víš, kde to začalo? Jenom kvůli tomu, že tam byla ta Laur ho hypovala v každém interview a francouzská komunita ho hypovala v každém interview. No, 1-1 free už v Lecku byl, to já vím, ale mně přišel, že je bad, hej.
Right, like these champions, I think, are insanely
dneska podepsal
the slows,
Casey.
Damage that's available, the brawn passive that's easily stacked on multiple members. Instead, TL getting what feels like, I think, at the very least, some calming of the
no, počkej, já potřebuji. Pošlete mi ještě jednou ten link, já se na to podívám. Karzi bude v týmu s Čajkem, s Hillisangem, s Naknakem, já nevím, kdo je Nako a Čajek. Čajek jsem nic slyšel, ale ne. Jako reálně Čajek podle mě není good, ale jak říkám, cokoliv lepší než VTO. VTO je prostě, jak se říká hráčům, co prostě berou resources, tomu se nějak říká. Black hole. VTO a Black Hole, ten cápek veme všechny killy, všechny CSK, všechny XP a pak je první, co utíká z teamfightu, aby si zachoval KDA. To tomu říkají resource Black Hole, resource Black Hole. Nebo já nevím jak, ale prostě nějak tomu říkají. Ale kámo, já jsem byl úplně v šoku, když prostě, sorry, že to je jako úplně trash talku VTA, ale úplně mě to úplně triggerlo, že třeba celá Evropa prostě říkala, jak je dobrý. A potom i my, i Reaper A Papa Smithy říkali, že je good a já jim říkám, borci, u Ripperda jsem věděl, že se na ty VOD záznamy že to neviděl. Ripperd byl tak línej, že reálně prostě jsem věděl, že se na ty VOD záznamy nepodíval, takže když říkal, že Veto je good, tak jsem věděl, že to není pravda. A Papa Smithy je takový ten člověk, který jenom jde podle reputace, takže jsem taky viděl, že se na to nepodíval. Ještě tam byl můj analysta, který díky bohu souhlasil se mnou. A ještě druhý cápek, který taky jako říkal, že jako Veto není tak dobrý. Takže jako to nebylo jako, že oni by mě neposlechli, kdybych byl solo, hej. Říkal, že Veto je dog shit.
Could be huge going into game 3.
I saw Impact solo killed by Anar early on in this tournament. So hoping it doesn't happen again.
Well, he's gone back in, looking for a little bit more. The Hyperprocs are really dangerous. Umpty's moving on over. There's the flash forward. Can it be
Q.
He gets into the brush, and that is the kill! Impact not solo killed this
Nako je ten
time.
týpek, co ležel ve finále s EU Masters, tak to se hodí k Hilisangově Karzimu. To bude dobrý vibe v týmu. To bude dobrý vibe.
I really thought it was that. I think that would have still been fine, because what I was going to lead into is the fact that, as you pointed out, Atlas, Nocturne is, I think, the most important part of this composition.
No, borci, já si myslím, že Karzi by nám mohl povědět svoje storyčka o Veteovi. To by bylo, podle mě by to hodně zajímalo. Že ten člověk je hrozně delusional, má ego, jak kdyby byl faker Evropy a hraje jak úplnej dog. Ale já nechápu League of Legends komunitu, jako Lecko je doomed. To je všecko nepotism, tam jsou všichni, tam prostě reálně, když jsi kamarád s někým, tak jsi v týmu. Tam není o tom, kdo hraje dobře, tam je to o tom, kdo se kamarádí s kým a kdo se zná s kým. A je to tak už 10 let a mně to přijde úplně insane. A víš, proč to tak je? Protože ty generál manažerové jsou úplný magoři v Evropě. Byl v pohodě, nebyl naegovaný. Aha, ok, to mi překvapuje.
Invested a bunch of time into it, so
it's a flash.
APA is in a scary position right now.
Tomáš s ním má totiž vlastní zkušenost, on dělal nějaký, brácha dělal nějaký tryout, já nevím, do XLu nebo kam. A VTO, to, co mi říkal o VTOvi, tak to bylo jakože... Hej, co dělá GAM? Oni choukujou. Tady máme sérii, pánové, tady máme sérii, tady je to Papa GAM a teď bude to 1-1. Karzi loguje na alt account, aby nebyl v trending na Redditu. Ne, asi někdo to vole přeloží a GG. To jsem zažil a zažil to i brácha, kámo. Tady v Česku jsou krysičky. Tady prostě bude někdo, kdo to přeloží, dá to na Reddit. Od té doby jsem se naučil jako neříkat tyhle věci, ale teď už je mi to jedno reálně. Stejně jako chci full time streamovat raději, než jako koučovat, víš co, takže hleda, že by mě někdo dal fakt dobrou nabídku.
Umpty is 3-0-2, 1.3k gold up. He's gonna get some free Raptors, and now his ultimate is available.
And he is going the Stride Breaker build. I love this build so much more.
Myslíš, že Kamil má na Lecko tento split? Reálně mě něco chybí na Kamilovi, když jako nad ním přemýšlím. Já jsem neviděl moc jeho her, takže nevím, ale chybí mě něco na něm, víš, jakože, aby byl 100% v Lecku. A kdybych se mnou hrál duo Q, tak možná vím. Bych mu řekl, co dělá špatně.
A bit of time for Impact. It's a bit rough. Yeah. Your focus on Umpty is really correct, though, and especially with this build. I love this build so much more because you can get your early
reprezentaci, jo, reprezentaci budu trénovat. Hele, jestli česká reprezentace chce jako něco na olympiádě dokázat, tak by mě měli dát... Hej, on to nebloknul klonem. On to nebloknul klonem, to je actually takové...
He uses TL's own emote!
Oh, man!
That's good BM.
That is some solid BM. And all of TL have been emoting like crazy, so I think it's completely warranted.
That's what, like, that's the second kill that, I know that it was emo, but like, that's the second kill Easy Love has gotten on APA.
Yeah, with Ash Arrow. The last one was a snipe.
Yeah.
on the Tristana in Tribush recalling.
Yes, Umti is big, but do not be mistaken. We saw how good Gam's fighting was.
Tady ten Nocturne bude mega velký problém, hej. Ta hra je over. My tady reálně můžeme japovat teďka. Full yapping pojedem.
Yeah, but have you thought about how crazy ugly your mustache is?
Jap. Jo, vy slyšíš, oni taky japujou. Oni reálně slyšíš, oni reálně japujou. Ti komentátoři full yapping, protože ví. Ty si myslíš, že vyhraje třetí hru? Hej, ono, jak jsem říkal první hru, jo, ty hry jsou, oba dva týmy jsou B a reálně může kdokoliv vyhrát. A draft bude takový, kdo bude mít lehčí draft na zahrání, tak to bude mít dobrý, ale třeba za mě teďka GAM mají lehčí draft na zahrání, jo.
And now Umti's making his way in. Remember, this guy has every kill in the universe, but they're not going to push too far. Not going to try and find more than they can chew.
Kdo bude mít lehčí draft třetí hru na zahrání, taky vyhraje.
I think Umti's also very aware of the fact that he has a gigantic bounty on his head, and if he dies, the game could be a big problem.
And they don't have to push anything extra there because they have a guarantee.
Reálně, když se dostaneš na olympiádu, Čet, jak to funguje na olympiádě? Platíte ten olympijský sbor, nebo tě platí prostě nějaký že individuální sponzoři? To asi nikdo nebude vědět, co? Obojí. Ten sport tě platí.
On the other end of the map aren't that big a deal. GAM's most vital members have effectively been, at least for now, taken out of the game, right? Both are facing very substantial losses, and for GAM, it's going to have to be a really heavy lifting duty or a job from the rest
že tohle bude joke, já to předem řeknu, že to bude joke, ale já, když bych se dostal na tu olympiádu, tak tam je taková ta village, ne, kde se furt prcá. Už bych neměl modré koule potom. Joke. Furt bych je měl modrý. Mně někdo říkal, že chce střílet z pistole, z té air pistole, jen kvůli tomu, aby se dostal na olympiádu, aby tam mohl jít do té village a prostě tam prcat olympijský atletky. Však tam bylo nějaký drama, ne? Na té olympiádě, to nemůžu divenout. WTF. Tam bylo nějaký drama v té village olympijský, ne? Že tam prostě byly nějaký UV lampy na ty postele a že to bylo úplně celý bílý. To bylo minulý, jo, bylo to minulý, no. A že jim tam prostě dávali krabičku kondomu, když tam přišli, tak dostali na posteli, měli krabičku kondomu.
Going to back away that inner turret. And Team Liquid, they can even rotate over to catch mid lane too, so TL winning both sides of the map here. You push in bottom with APA, you push in top with Yon. Huge tower gold there for
Bylo
Team
no, frérka, která reprezentovala Ukrajinu, dělá OnlyFans. No. Dobrá reprezentace státu, hej. Když ti frérka dělá OnlyFans ze svého státu. Dneska koop, já mám pocit, že jsou lidi na Madmon Party, takže ne, dneska koop není. Komentujeme pořád League of Legends. Bráško, já nevím, jestli to jako sleduješ, ale ta hra je over v 5. minutě, kdy tam dali quadrakill, tak to bylo over. A my tady prostě full japujeme o životě. Protože tahle hra je nudná a reálně se tam nic neděje a ta hra je vyhraná proti Liquid.
Because it comes up with different champions getting kills. It's a very confusing thing, but we will try and stay on the board.
Teďka tam měli speciální postele, v kterých údajně nemělo jít prcat. Ale... Co? Cože? Cože? Ale nedošlo jim, že olympioci klidně... Jo, okay.
your job has really been
je to true, ale tak to je actually funny. Byly tam kartonové krabice, ne pod tím.
with Nocturne ult available, hovering behind as they push APA to finish off this tower, just in case there was any sort of GAM attempt.
No já se tomu ale nedivím, no. Kámo, cápci tam legit tam prostě... Ono je dokázaný, že ty když aktivně cvičíš vrcholově, tak jsi prostě víc nadržený. Máš větší testosteron a jsi víc nadržený.
Absolutely insane. Game should be completely unplayable from here on out for GAM. As much as I think they did an incredible job in the last game, it would be unless multiple people on TL just all stack up into like a multi.
Shit, já nic neplánuju, okay?
Realistically, if any of their top like literally any of their characters.
Podle poslední fotky na Age má kapesník větší rys jak ty. Kapesník má 100% větší rys jak já, WTF, on je actually funny.
To being a shellacking, which is a game that was coined by Spawn himself. We get to ask him whether it's actually a
Když umíš rozesmát ženu, tak už ji můžeš políbit, hej? To je nějaký, to se říká. If you can make a woman laugh, you can kiss her. Anglicky se to říká, já jsem to přeložil do češtiny.
No zigs in this game, we can't go through that one. Let's have a look at our MasterCard lane economy snapshot, and the snapshot is TL are winning by a lot in all of them. That's my breakdown.
That is valid. Not a lot of nuance on that snapshot.
We're lacking a lot of nuance in this one.
I can only imagine.
Slyšíš ty kástry, oni taky furt jenom japujou, protože prostě tohle je největší stomp, co existuje.
What we're going to do next game, because this game really felt like with the way that the level 1 went, from that point on the game is so hard as there is.
Oni by legit měli dát 15 minute FF.
It is going to connect.
And it's very easy for Liquid to progress their snowball in this game because of the fact that they got the early grubs.
Zachovat mentální síly a
yeah, he's just gonna kill him. Has a spell shield that's going to be used on the shockwave gorgeously, and I could have been really hyped for that.
Za FF máš kosti? Dřív si měl, ale teďka mám pocit, že už ne, někdo mi to říkal. A to bude vidět Karzi. Karzi říkali vám, že můžete dát FF, nebo ptali jste se na to, my jsme se na to vždycky ptali, ze srandy. Většinou nám řekli, že nemůžeme, ale pak nám začali říkat, že můžeme. Maty hraje TFT teď.
The killer instinct to go in. Okay, Yon might have gone a little bit too far, but the quickness comes on through, and the wallets are big and heavy. That is going to be a pop blossom. APA comes forward, and that's going to be Yon putting the last little cherry on top. And maybe there's another cherry, as Easy Love's going to have to flash away. Impact wants to try and catch up to him, but the volley will slow down the Crocodile, and Easy Love will limp his way back towards his base.
And now is your line chronicler, because this time
měl jednou průser, že během stage game dal reflexní FF.
You know what? You're prophetic. No, I saw him and I'm like, I'm not believing that. I'm not making the call again.
It's a mirage.
As we take a look, this is really, as you'd expect, STL, when you're this fed, any fight basically is a good fight, right? This doesn't start out that well. A lot of damage goes into Yon. He doesn't really get to do as much as ideally he'd like, but it just doesn't matter. GAM is very deep into enemy territory.
Chat, jenom takový základní dotaz. Od 1 až 10, jak moc jste dávali pozor tuhle hru a reálně jste koukali na tuhle hru, která se teďka hraje? Protože já 0. 0. Já se přiznám, absolutní 0. Já jsem viděl prvních 5 minut hry a pak jsem přestal koukat. Ono se hraje.
I love those types, especially when you have a Kai'Sa that wants to ult face first into people.
And get a massive shield, and I hear that resistance is pretty good when you get a massive shield.
I love casting with you guys straight off the plane.
Because we talk about massive shields.
Extra fun. TL here.
I'm always like it. I know what you're talking about, Kobe.
TL though, also take a look at just the complete vision coverage. With both sides of the jungle warded up.
Kupuješ věci na aktivu. Pánové, děkuju za ty, hlavně to kupujte, jste odkaz, ale děkuju za ty nákupy na aktivu. Udějte si radost. Místo donatu mě si kupte něco. Mám z toho o dost méně peněz, ale aspoň máte z toho něco vy. Půjdeš pak dohrát Visáž? Maty, já nevím, co říkáš, jak jsem to dohrál. Čet, že mám dohranej Visáž. Všechny 3 chaptery. Sleva na akty nejen dnes, no podle mě dnes a zítra, a pak nebude. Dneska a zítra jsou slevy na akty, no, a pak to nebude.
Alright, stop trying to curse.
Okay, tell me I'm wrong.
No way.
Well, there's a Pop Blossom gets a flash, and there's a Paranoia, so I don't
No,
think that Emo's going to be getting out of this one.
Kompetitivu.
And it's going to be the Tangle Bobs landing there as well. Meanwhile, on the other
Hlavně
side,
teďka jak je little tempo back, tak ono to i vyhrává early game.
Is so tanky. The Nara to the wall is fantastic. Jan, they're just one after the other, dive bombing these members of GAM. And Kiaya gets under his inner turret,
to bych musel vidět, kolik je tam zinku a magnézia, víš? Jako rozhodně je to lepší než nic, ale ty chceš hodně magnézia, ty chceš jako overdosovat se magnéziem, protože ono je toho. Ty potřebuješ elementální magnézium, víš? Ty reálně potřebuješ 1 gram elementálního magnézia, jenže ty když si dáš magnézi suplement, tak elementálního oni tam řeknou, že tam je vole 1 gram magnézia biglicinate, ale to má reálně jenom 100 mg elementálního magnézia. Jestli mi rozumíš. Sorry, že co lidi mě tady nebudou rozumět, nebudou vědět, co říkám, ale... It is what it is. Dead Signal nemám dohranej, ani Mafii. Dead Signal, Flygun mě vyzval na Dead Signal Hardcore, to bych chtěl zkusit. Ale jak teďka je prostě Worlds, tak nemám čas, no. Ale chtěl bych ten Dead Signal Hardcore zkusit, hej?
A game like this, I think it's the same where if you lose level 1, it's much easier to write off than if it's a hard-fought, like 40-minute slugfest. And
ale Kekony, já ti reálně řeknu, reálně jediný 2 nebo 3 produkty, které ty by si měl brát, jako chlap je zinek, ani magnésko nemusíš brát. Pokud třeba papáš oříšky, pokud žereš oříšky, nebo řekneš si, budu každý den papat, já nevím, 50 gramů, 100 gramů oříšku, tak je to v pohodě. Reálně spíš 100 gramů. Ale zinek by si měl prostě brát a D3. That's it. Reálně dát si, pokud fakt jako nechceš utrácet za suplementy, tak tyhle 2 věci. Pomůže ti to, budeš mít o dost větší testosteron, což je mega důležitý. Ještě omega 3. On nechce utrácet peníze za produkty, chápeš? Takže prostě omega 3 je navíc. To je omega 3, jak jsem tady vysvětloval. Omega 3 je složitý najít dobrý produkt. Omega 3 je strašně složitý najít dobrý produkt.
Would you then want to just make them wait and live in this deficit for even longer?
No, I think you want to just finish it as soon as you can. Yeah.
Because it doesn't teach you anything, right? You don't get anything out of it. APA, that's good spotted.
Vision, yeah, spotted out.
To je v pohodě, Cape, to je v pohodě. A ale toho magnézia je to elementální magnézium, nebo není? Ty vole. OK, ale nemá kdo follow. Zonia a je čus.
You know, that is still the vibe being taken down. The arrow is going to sail on in, and oh my goodness. Thankfully, Levi was one of the ones that did.
Really free, chceš radit druhým, když sám nezabenčuješ a nezvedneš nic. Já se moc nesoustředím na benčování velkých váh a tak. Jako. Ale na co se soustředím je biohacking. Dělám si krevní testy každý 3 měsíce, full komplexní krevní testy za 5-6 tisíc. Poslouchám non-stop podcasty o biohacku a všeobecně mám protokol jednoho týpka, který utrácí 20 milionů ročně za jako svůj protokol. Takže bych řekl, že tomu nebudu rozumět úplně jako extrémně, ale budu asi vědět, o čem mluvím. Rozhodně budu tomu rozumět trošku víc, než když budu to porovnávat s někým, jako seš ty, kdo řeší, kolik kdo benchuje na benchu. Kdy bench je relativně useless cvik. Kdyby si řekl dřepy nebo deadlifty, který ten cvik je 100krát lepší než bench, tak ti možná dám nějakou menší benefit of the doubt. Bench je nejhorší cvik na kozy. To jsi neřekl? Řekl. Bench je nejhorší cvik na kozy. Jestli si myslíš, že bench je nejlepší cvik na kozy, tak pro tebe mám bohužel špatný zprávy.
Still pretty early in this one, so getting all these waves in order is a little bit more difficult, but well, it's very, very heavy. So 14,000 gold, the approximate gold lead. Not used to talking about a lead like that when we have like downtime. Normally it's like 15,000 gold and that gold is sort of raining down on the opposition and then the Nexus explodes. But this is we're just setting up for some lanes and TL have the entire bank.
Yeah. The gold lead here,
koukám, řešíme posilku, tak je tady instantně aktivní chat, jak kdyby tady bylo 5000 lidí. To je klasik. Celou dobu nic, chat nic neříká. Celou hru jedna zpráva za 10 minut. Jakmile se řeší fitness, nutrition, anebo elektroauta, ty pičo, mám tady 10 000 lidí, jak max viewership, peak. Wow. Chat jede, že to ani nestíhám číst. And with one of the largest gold leads I've ever seen, they will complete the shellacking at 24 minutes and 20 seconds. Tak sorry, ale když řekneš takové hovno, jak se každý ozve. Jaký hovno jsem řekl? Že bench je jeden z nejhorších cviků na hypertrofy kost? Jak budem čekat na draw, hej? Teďka fandíme Gamu, Teď fandíme Gamu! Fandíme Gamu! Aurora, Shyvana ban. Bude i Ione ban, oni zbanou Ziggs, Scanner. Marty, nevím. Teď je na to nechci odpovídat, teď se chci koukat na draft. Chat mě nějak bolí v krku. Chce to čajíček nějaký. Do té Prahy to nestíhám asi, co? Když byly furt 3 hry.
What if in an elimination game?
Let's not do that.
Joneba, Jax first pick? Wow. Víte, že Jax byl 4 výhry a 10 proher a teď je to 12 výher, 12 proher. And you know, not being able to guarantee the first 2 kills of the game at level like at minute 1 and 2 perhaps is little dangerous. Kajsaban. To bolí v krku, protože ti spadnul čurák do huby, jo, jak říkal Vojta. Jax je nový, jo ne? Nocturne, to je... Nocturne je hrozně annoying. Xante je dobrý do Jaxe jenom early a pak Jax outscaluje.
But he does become an immovable brick wall, and obviously
do they want to steal Ori now, or because Emo's Orianna,
they have to, right? Just lock it in again.
Oh my. Okay.
Wukong, Jax, Akali.
They do not have to, nor do they want to.
That's blind Akali.
Blind Akali is an interesting.
Oni stejně ví, že Apa cokoliv co hraje, tak nekantruje Akali, hej? Že Apa prostě nehraje country do Akali. Jediní jsou, ty koučové, co pikneš do Akali? Já nevím. Ty vole. A ten Korejec, tento. Ty pičo, tak to ne. Niko do Akali, to ne, hej. Niko je dobrá na linku proti Akali, ale po 6 je to takový sus. Co counteruje Akali? Co reálně counteruje Akali? Actually, co counteruje Akali na midu? Smoldra je mega good, ale záleží, jak se to hraje. Syndra, OK. Galio je insane, ano. Galio je insane. Silas je velice good, Silas je taky hodně good. Renekton nekantruje Akali na midu, to je fake counter. To je jako, že Renekton kantruje Ione na midu, haha, XD. LeBlanc je mega good do toho, no, do Akali. Neslyšíte stream? Teď to slyšíte? Já jsem si neudělal smutičko a mám hlad jak blázen.
bot lane pool is really getting pinched here. So TL actually banning the Xayah away themselves. I do think Xayah is better on the GAM side than is on the TL side. I think with champions like Akali and Wukong or Jax, once they're on top of you, like I don't think the Xayah ult does that much. As we're not gonna get baited in by anything.
I kind of like the Samira angle.
A ton of frontline. This is a blind pick. I think the Ashe makes the most sense. This is something we have obviously already seen. Would be a lot of being played. It's probably going to be Ashe. As well, I think is really good position.
Well, yeah. And you're seeing all this.
Kámo, TBHNila by tady byla po piči do těch mílíček, hej. A i do Wukonga. Twitch není good do Akali Wukong. Kolik mám teďka kalorický surplus? 3000... Nějak 3450 cca. Což je dost, ale nepřibírám z nějakého důvodu na tom. Potřebuji víc. Nejvíc jsem zkoušel 4000 kalorií, ale to se nedalo žrat. A navíc jsem byl chodící přenosnej plynovej plynová komora. Pij olej, piju olej. Reálně piju olivový olej. Je to mega zdravý. Oliváč, dobrý kvalitní oliváč je... To si vysvětlíme potom opět. Tak, Jhin Poppy. Borci... Tady se mi nelíbí to 4-5 od Gamu. Ale Xayah byla v banu, MF byla by Illusion, Kylista byla v banu. Tohle by znělo, hej, tohle bude znít strašně divně. Ale v momentě, když se tam pikli Ezreala a mají tam Nocturna, Axante a Nico, víš co, abych piknul? Sena tam Kench. Jestli nedělám piču, ale prostě bych tam hodil bych tam Sena tam Kench.
Do you want to add more tools to your Nocturne Nico engage? Which I actually do feel very comfortable with. Team Liquid have really relied on Core JJ's engage.
Avokádo na snídani. Avokádo je ekvivalent toho dobrého olivového oleju. Ano, avokádo je mega zdravé.
Stop what GAM are doing, which is not necessarily a terrible thing, but I would much prefer them to play to Core's big strength of being the
K tomu oliváčovi rychle. Když jediný dobrý oliváč je ten, co má vysoký polyfenoly. Polyfenoly jsou antioxidační látky. Měří se v laboratoři, jo. Hodně olivových olejů jsou scam a není to ani olivový olej, co si kupujete v supermarketu. Ale takový ten, jmenuje se to, můžete se to vygooglit, je to High Polyphenol Olive Oil. To je olivový olej, který je výběrový a nechávají si to ty rodiny, co vlastní ty olivové pole, si to nechávají pro sebe a pijou to, každý den si dávají štamprdlu. Ráno, na lačno. Jo. Alešu, ty jsi nabitý informace, to je neskutečný. Borci, já streamuju 4-5 hodin denně, teď 10, ale já streamuju reálně 5-6 hodin denně a mám ADHD, takže já se furt o něco zajímám. Já legit se bavím tím, že ráno prostě 2 hodiny něco studuju, nebo poslouchám nějaký podcast, nebo něco. A vždycky jsem jak to Alice in the Wonderland, že prostě vidím rabbit hole, nějakou věc, co mě zajímá, zajímá mě to 2 nebo 3 týdny, najdu si o tom úplně všechno, co existuje a pak mě to přestane zajímat. Já mám nemoc, která se, já nevím, jak se to jmenuje, ale já legit, když se o něco zajímám, tak když to neznám a neumím, tak mě to baví, ale v momentě, kdy to pochopím a znám to a umím to, tak mě to přestane bavit. Podle mě to mám z LoLka, že jsem autista z LoLka.
Where it starts off as, you know, like, okay, getting on a plane. That's going to be the main objective. And then have an incredible performance and then
máte to tak taky někdo, nebo jsem legit prostě solo autista tady v tom chatu?
One game away from just making it to that final round of Swiss, which in of itself is already a huge achievement.
Thank you so much, Berlin. That 10 gold is extremely important. And Kiai able to fish that one up. It's beautiful to see.
Jo, hoši, nechci nic říkat, ale tady ten 4-5 od Gamu se mi vůbec nelíbí. Ta Jin Poppy, to je prostě takový meh. Je takový jméno. Rakan to může outplaynout, Nocturnovi je to jedno, Nikoxante taky, ta Poppy, Jin nepřežije anyway. Tady mně přijde, že lehčí týmkom na zahrání mají Team Liquid, což znamená, že vyhrajou, protože reálně, jak jsme si říkali, tyhle dva týmy nejsou dobrý a ten tým, co má lepší týmkom na zahrání, nebo jednodušší, tak vyhraje.
Easy Love not able to get too much done.
That bot lane, you can definitely count on this TL bottom lane.
Yeah,
2v2, 2v2, they pull it off.
TL mají lepší draft.
Mention his name and all things will come through.
How far we've come, and
it's beautiful.
The journey along with that curse.
Curses aren't real, guys. Come on, get it together. I want to highlight how big of a deal this is, like just getting this in a 2v2 in particular, because if you look at the other lanes, I don't think too much is supposed to happen in mid lane. Obviously, top lane, Impact is going to be pushed in, and Levi and Umti are just doing a hooking power farm to level 6, the fastest as humanly possible. So, breaking open this lane early on, getting the cooldown out of Ellie, like, yeah, you trade flashes, but early gold going over the core JJ and Yon. Only downside is that obviously core got the kill, so not the best in terms of gold distribution, but still, TL off to an early lead again.
Yeah, and both junglers are, you know, typical level 6 junglers looking for full clears. So if we do see some jungler intervention,
Porci, jenom fakt v rychlosti, jo. S tím oliváčem, vy chcete, když si vybíráte oliváč, tak vy chcete, aby ten oliváč byl pod 0,2% acidity a nad 1000 polyfenolů na miligramů. A musí to být third party tested. Omlouvám se League Frogánkům, musel jsem to říct. Proč? Pro ty z vás, co vás to zajímá, tak se o tom budeme bavit někdy jindy. Zeptejte se mě někdy jindy. Ale na té stránce mají zbytečně drahý olivy, ty oliváče. Když to koupíš přímo z evropského dodavatele, tak to stojí o polovinu míň. Borci, tady je to... Založ si na to Hero. Actually, cinkačka. No, mají lepší draft a už mají feednutou, nebo mid vyhrává 1v1. A Niko je dobrý do Akali. Niko je dobrá do Akali, ale jenom early game, jako laning fáze je mega dobrá. Niko legit vyhraje proti všem early game.
Either of the junglers might make a small visit.
Yep. And level 6 is not hit just yet as Kiaya going to find the counter-strike onto Impact. These health bars, just a lot of biffo, not a whole lot of result here between the top laners, but Impact really wants to get this one crashed in. Going to find that Q, in fact, just goes to Narnia. And Kiaya just going to keep trimming as best he can. This wave is going to come in though, he holds it in a pretty nice spot as counter-strike. Going to come down, just make Impact's day feel a little bit rough. Yeah, some all-out opportunities. Good little leap strike there to avoid the third Q. TL, still, it is 2-0. These little advantages that they've been able to pick up in the bottom lane, in the mid lane here, with just individual outplays or duo outplays, I guess, that might happen again here as Easy Love.
Ale mají level 5 a oni mají level 4, takže tady vyhrávají se zavřenýma očima. Reálně nic netrefili, ano, vlastně vyhrávají. Levely jsou hrozně huge v League of Legends. A přijde mi, že teprve tento rok se na to přišlo, že levely jsou úplně game breaking.
Honey fruit being eaten here as Umpty looking for Levi as Kiaya could be in trouble actually. Impact looking for a bit of an angle. You could see he wanted to line up that all out, but didn't really feel like going under the enemy turret. So he's going to press the button.
Yeah, Umpty, a pretty smart move here where he had both solo lanes pushing, and so he just comes to wait in the brush and wait to get a little health chunk onto Levi. Because the grubs are up and available, and you've got the reset for JJ.
Jako jo, ale i ne. Mi přijde, že poslední rok se dělá to, že třeba support je level 9, když AD carry je level 16, víš, že to se dřív nedělalo. Jinak v pondělí jdu zase na krevní testy. Tak vám pak řeknu, kolik mám testosteronu. Oni to posrali! Pane bože! Oh, Levi žije dlouho! Hey, GAM je back! Je to pravda. Co dělá Kiaia? Ale líbí se mně, že v oba kontestí graby, není to jak ve Fnatic 0.18 grabí z XDD 0.18 grubíci. Ale oni tady šli na Akali. Ona to dodžla. Hej, on prostě Nico ultnul Jaxa jenom. A Jax měl Magic Resist Armor z 3 lidí. Kvůli ultimátce.
Not really a suitable target, extra tanky as well with the Grandmaster's might. This game not being...
Kam chodím na testy? Normálně Ivkor se to jmenuje, ale vy můžete najít si jakoukoliv laboratoř a udělat si testy. Ale běžte jako okvoďákovi a vymyšlete si třeba, reálně já vám dám radu. Když můžete si dělat ne komplet krevní testy, ale docela basic panel krevní testy od voďáka 2x do roka. A když si vymyslíte nějaký píčoviny, že se vám špatně spí nebo něco takového, tak vám otestuju i hormony, a.k.a. testosteron a tak. A máte to zadarmo. Ale já to dělám tak často, že už jsem to vyčerpal ty dvakrát zadarmo. Takže to musím si platit sám.
Well, we'll see whether Core can use some of that money here as he moves back towards the bottom lane. I'm still trying.
Battle Rakan again?
Yeah, the Battle Rakan, man. He just, like, maybe he just builds a death cap. You never know.
Well, I think I battle Wukong.
Yeah, in goes Levi.
A on to netrefil tu dvojitý Včko za toho Jina.
To bylo free. Or maybe TL will just move themselves.
Jak to netrefil? Res si chtěl udělat krevní testy a doktorka mu řekla, že nemá nějaký špatný zdravotní stav, že mu ji krev neodebere. Ty si musíš něco vymyslet vždycky. Fakt, jako musíš si prostě... Jednak ty normální testy jsou v pohodě, 2x do roka zadarmo, ale jestli chceš hormony nebo něco tyho, tak si prostě vymyslí, že ti nestojí péro, nebo že tě bolí hlava, nebo něco, chápeš? A oni to pak musí udělat.
Just by keeping the cooldown available, the first Nocturne ultimate here kind of hanging over the heads of all of the laners. So,
an entrance comes down a little bit late on the steadfast presence there from Elio.
Za chvíli zavolá, vole, česká zdravotní pojišťovna, že tady navádím, jak skemovat, vole, zdravotnictví.
With Arcane Shift, not having flash on Ezreal, not as bad as some other champions, as Umpty moving around, seeing whether there was going to be a cheeky poppy underneath the turret.
Live's looking decent for Kiaia, who has been mostly left alone, able to pick up the...
Ale já neklamu, chat, já to nepoužívám, já reálně neklamu doktorovi. Já jsem mu řekl, podívejte se na moje, můj důvod byl, já jsem mu řekl, podívejte se na moje kruhy pod očima, to není normální, já spím 10 hodin denně a mám černý kruhy, jak kdybych prostě spal 4 hodiny a fetoval každý den. A Cápek mi prostě udělal všechny krevní testy.
Counter-Strike not going to connect there. Levi gives away his position, so now Impact can play a little bit more carefully, especially with Umpty in the area, Paranoia in hand, trying to bait this one out. As okay, looking for a little bit of a game. Is the Paranoia.
Wukong nemá flash ani nedvojitý Včko, aha. Proč ne? Jo. Ten Nocturne je huge, hej. Nocturne Rakan je combo.
Well, Cortete also kind of deserves some because he's the one who found the target there and stayed right next to him to lock him up.
3-0 support je problém, jako to je úplně zbytečný na tom Rakanovi. Ale... reálně je to actually úplně zbytečný ty goldy na Rakanovi.
I mean, yeah, Rakan getting a bit tankier in this one, maybe allow him to deal with the difficulties of playing into the poppy and stuff like you guys kind of mentioned.
There we go.
Previously.
That's the kind of positivity that I'm looking out for. Yep. Appreciate it.
Vizi, to je třeba výborný feedback, hej? To je legit feedback, který já oceňuji. Víš, ty jsi to prostě Vizi, Mr. Vizi Dope mi dal feedback a napsal to jak normální člověk. Nenapsal zatím, pičo, seš streamer, vole, jak to, že žereš na streamu, vole, nebo dobrý komentář, xddddd, nic si neřek 10 minut. Chápeš? Neponižuje mě, prostě mi řekne, hej, říkáš furt, hej, jsi kokot. To jsi kokot neřekl. Řekl prostě, hej. Řekl prostě, mám tě rád, ale to tvoje hej mě sere. Tak. Grubis. A i tady to ale nemůžou kontestit. Takže 5 grubíků. GAM just going to get out of there. I don't think they want to try and fight for this one. No mid control. And APA, in fact, is really going to drill that fact home. To mohl dodgenout, no tak.
Anything on his part. Yeah, GAM definitely can't fight. I think correct call here. Just try and get something, you know, maybe minion wave into the tower on bottom side. Emo at least is trying in that efforts. TL already recognized it though, and they sent Yon down there. So Yon, or excuse me, APA.
No, gentleman, já neumím mluvit, ti říkám, já prostě Víš, proč já neumím mluvit, ale já na to mám, já mám na to svoje výmluvy a vysvětlení. Mně jede mozek já mám overclocknutý mozek, jestli víte, co je to overclocking. A mě ten mozek prostě jede rychleji než moje huba. A plus nemám slovní zásobu, že mám normálně... Moje angličtina, slovní zásoba je lepší než česká. Jsou moje 2 logické vysvětlení. No TL má jednodušší draft, o dost jednodušší draft. Jsou všichni ahead.
Do a great job and keep the pressure up, because even though this game isn't anywhere as snowbally as particularly game number 2, this is still a big problem for GAM. I think that they are going to quickly reach the point where it's one big fight, and this time I do think they have the ultimates to make that work. Again,
je tady někdo chytrý a řekne mi, jak GAM chce vyhrát tuhle videohru. Actually Poppy, když Poppy zaultí na nějakým objektivu, třeba Nico Away, a pak budou fighti, tak to bude dobré. Jax outscale, ne sidelane, reálně Jax outscale ne. Ale ten Nocturne je nepříjemný pro Jaxe, ale Jax reálně s 3 itemama dá 1v2 double kill proti Xantemu a Nocturne mi přijde. Takže Jax potřebuje mít prostě... Hrál bych ty vole Trinity Force proti Xantemu, já bych hrál možná Divine Thunder proti Xantemu. First item. Ale možná to trolem. Ikis, jo, D3 plus K2 a Zinek hlavně, tyhle 2 hlavně. Pokud jako nechceš platit za Magnésko a... Magnésko je ale taky mega good. Ten item už není. No vy víte, jaký myslím, ne Divine Thunder, ale takový ten healovací. Tady Thunder Sky. To, co má ten Wukong. Že ty stejně jak short raiduješ s Xantem a můžeš se healovat každých 10 vteřin proti tomu Xantemu. Kolik UI vitaminu D3? Víš, že nevím, čeče. Dvě D3 pilule. Oh! Oh! On tankoval, víš? Oh! Actually? Hej, reálně, jako TL to tady intuje, ale ne, jako GAM fakt potřebuje, aby byl nějaký fight na Drakovi nebo na Baronovi a Poppy zaultila Niko pryč. Hej, pozor, to je intuje úplně. Dvojitý Včko.
Bit dangerous, but the mobility of both Rakan and Ezreal means that they can afford to stand this far up. And Easy Love starting to struggle here against the Trinity Force on Yon. We know that this 2-item spike is coming very, very soon. This Ezreal's going to be extremely scary.
No, Poppy musí prostě fakt mega dobře zaultit potom. A Jax musí mít fakt 3 itemy. Ale ten TL komp je strašně jednoduchý na zahrání. Zatímco ten GAM komp není tak jednoduchý na zahrání. Ale hodně to intí. Má flash? Wukong má flash? Dostane one shot. Wow, actually? Papa? OK, 2 killy. Tohle je docela dobrý pro GAM. On jako Jhin je irrelevant, Jhin se jako, tady win kondice, aby byl feednutý Jax, anebo Akali, anebo Wukong. Čemu je Zinek? Zinek je důležitý na produkci testosteronu.
Meanwhile, you're getting mid push in exchange for bottom. Jax right now, by the way, is on that turret, so he will also finish up an outer. That one that we just saw APA take though, mid lane secondary.
Tyhle, tady byl nějaký podnikatel, že mi říkal udělat hero biohackingu v České republice. Mě to reálně baví.
GAM don't want to just give this up, right? And TL, I think they could have played a little bit slower, just as you're talking about restraint. They dive the turret when it's already this low. Teleport ends up being, I think, big here because it means that GAM can't quite commit to the fight, but Emo is already in the back line. So, gets the flash, gets the Q, still takes down Core despite the fact, you see Umti for a second there be like, can I go? And then he realizes, oh, I don't want to mess.
Si vem příklad z Česlíka, ten na to má celou akademii, kde bere 50k za vstup. So.
As now the Rift Herald going to maneuver its way down this bottom lane. This outer turret still up and available here as Umti's just playing
Adam Česlík.
And I think Umti likes those odds as the curtain call does come in. He turns off the lights to try
Dobrá
and stop
stinkačka, 50k za vstup do TF.
Yeah, too little too late here for
TL to stompne tuhle hru, bohužel.
Umti on this Nocturne is looking so good.
Really is. Goes into bully Levi off his own red buff, steals the buff, takes his life. Now you get to drive the Rift Herald into the tower for the extra Void Mites, but APA locked up.
Yeah, Elio actually looking for the ulti onto APA. Not a lot of follow-up there at all. Of course, Easy Love, no curtain call up and available, and Emo just can't get in there. So TL almost taking down another inner turret, and this gold is starting to really balloon.
You might look at that previous graph and be like, man, this is not that big of a...
Nocturne je hrozně nepříjemný champ, no.
It was a bit absurd, yeah.
Nejhorší na tom je, že to reálně můžeš 1-2 blindnout a ty týmy tě nemůžou nic moc punishnout. A ještě k tomu máš Oriana, že jo, vždycky, a to kombo je hrozně OP. Je to hrozně jednoduchý a hrozně silný. Ty draft vždycky řešíš podle toho, jak moc je ten draft dobrý a potom jak moc je jednoduchý. A když je to oboje dobrý a jednoduchý to kombo, tak je to hrozně OP.
I feel like so much of this game is similar to game number 1. Will come down to Levi and Kiaya what they can find in some of these team fights, but otherwise I'm just not seeing as many of the combat mechanics for GAM in this game. TL, I feel like they have just a lot of the answers available And that is going to be the first Mountain Drake and Mountain Soul point going over to TL in this game. We spoke already about how the fact that Mountain Soul really can be a win more button for a lot of teams. And in this composition,
Jackson má furt jenom jeden item.
I don't know how relevant it's going to be though. This game is looking really difficult anyway as Kiaya, he's got a target on his back. He was so good in game one and they're looking to try and shut him down once again. And there's the bullet.
Crazy. On přežívá strašně dlouho, ale stejně to nestačí, protože Nocturne.
And it's not going to work. The auto is in the air as it was earlier on and APA secures the kill.
Gam reálně jediný způsob, jak vyhrál tuhle videohru je, že prostě třeba TL začne Barona. A Poppy zaultí prostě třeba Nika Away. A nebo Junglera Away, oni to smajtnou a vyhrajou fight. A tady je to jako reálně už jako neudělají podle mě. Nebo? Myslíš? Poppy ult? Kde je Poppy ult?
Yeah, the shape splitter was so good at blocking some of these bullets, but the last one does come through. Emo, can he find the angle? That's the
Poppy,
question.
ježišmarja. Neultil celou dobu ta Poppy, to je škoda, hej. O, Akali? 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 Xante ji vzal? Xante ji vzal? OK, Xante zachránil. Kamo, jak opesu jsou linky, ale ty vole. Oni tam dělají hrozný burčus. Oni jsou tak strašně behind, ale ta Akali s Jacksem tam dělají takový bordel. Ještě oba dva mají 3000 životů. Neviditelnost, 40 skoků, 3000 životů. One-shotuje to. Je to zajímavý, no.
Right out of the gates there.
Zajímavý.
Good turn from Team Liquid, but Emo, the Akali, the hope from GAM into the backline and Impact ults him away. Yon barely able to live and get that with TL.
Škoda, že ta GAM botlinka je useless. No ten 4-5 Jin Poppy byl dogshit, no, to jsem říkal. To mě fakt jako... Prostě, nevím. Ta Poppy ani neultí, ona by měla preemptively ultit někoho away a pak by měli engageovat, víš, jako GAM, jenže ona prostě si tu ult šetří a pak ji dostane cancel. Proč někdo shroudí na farmení CS? To ti dává energy, shroud, že? Nebo?
So not going to be seeing another Baron attempt just yet as Impact possibly set up on a flank angle.
Dává to energy, okay.
He can attack anyone that is down here.
That's the issue. If you don't know where Nocturne is, you cannot look for a side lane collapse.
I have a fun fact for you. Yon had literally 1 HP.
He just actually
Který má ještě Evropa šanci, G2. G2 je ta last hope. A jestli to G2 na NT, tak reálně příští rok jedou jenom 2 týmy na Worlds.
I've played League with you, Atlas.
Atlas is still looking okay. He didn't say Atlas.
You're not allowed to say anything mean to me again, Chronicler, because I'm still just... I haven't got to the 1 HP yet. It's mostly 0.
Still calculating.
Yeah, we're still calibrating.
It's the important thing. Right now, GAM, 6K, 6.5K gold behind.
G2 hraje kdy? Teď bude slosování. Po tomhle zápase je slosování a pak se slosuje, kdy kdo hraje. Akali? A Xante ji vytáh. Xante je nepříjemný pro tu Akali hrozně. Kámo, tady kdyby ten Xante nebyl tak huge, tak actually GAM mají možnost vyhrát. Ale Xante tam 1v4 dává prostě quadrakill. Fanatic je out, jo, Fanatic je out, bracha jede domů, no.
And GAM, you could see them looking, trying to find a mid lane fight, maybe an angle onto some of the background. But again, this Nocturne pick has been one of the breakout picks for Worlds for me. The amount of playmaking you take away once you get ahead with this pick is insane.
And it is so meaningful for Team Liquid as a whole, as a team, for Umpty to have another tool in the toolbox here for them, because he had been one of the players where people look at his champion pool and think that TL can only survive when he is on Maokai, Sejuani, Skarner, these tanks. But the Nocturne has been massive.
Jeho pasivka je essay na to, jak bait OP.
And even though Poppy ultimate does go off, APA has already hit the ultimate before he goes flying.
Yeah, I think we want to call that a Poppy Blossom because honestly it
teda
worked
spíš
really
jeho
well.
pasivky. jsou eseje na to, jak být obroken.
Took care of the Akali for the rest of the team, and so TL just were able to chase forward.
Well, now a little bit more of a fight here as Kiaya is going to get pulled back by Impact. Now the curtains are being called, but the paranoia is down. Can't really see his targets, although there is a clone in there, just causing a ruckus. The rest of GAM trying to get themselves out of there. Levi is trying to be tricky, but it's just not quite working. Able to avoid that true shot barrage that may have just been his life, but now this is game over, right? If this goes down, it's game over.
That's the problem. GAM trying desperately to find something. They get away with their lives.
Hraje over, bohužel, jako dlouho už.
I don't think they can afford to lose. This game was already in a dire spot, almost
Mluv?
to take a goal lead, but now with
Mluv ty hlavo, jsi streamer?
one angle to come back, which is like a pick on AP.
Na tu Mad Monk Party já to nestíhám, ne? Když prostě je 19:00, 2 hodiny, jako stíhal bych to. 2 hodiny do Prahy, někde bych zaparkoval do 2 hodiny do Prahy. Půl hodiny než zaparkuju, než se vyprdelím. 19:00, ještě bude Drup Gro, 19:30 to skončí, 2,5 hodiny. Byl bych v 10 večer. Snapit je tam hodí za 40 minut. Kde brzdy, exidy. Někde bych zaparkoval, byl jsem někdy v Praze. Jo, dostávám pokuty často za parkování v Praze. Já jsem si ale říkal, kámo, tam byly modré zóny a hned vedle toho nebyla žádná modrá zóna a bylo tam jedno volné místo, tak jsem si řekl, že tam zaparkuju a tam jako ne. Ale nikde tam nebylo a cedula, že nemůžu parkovat.
Comes from behind the enemy nexus to look to take down the opposition. Emo is just eviscerated.
Nasaď David Goggins mentality. I'm hard. Mě tam nechce do té Prahy. Ale prý tam je strašně moc lidí.
They locked in the Nocturne again. They locked in the Nico again. Those two that just hugged on screen, Umpty, APA. They're able to complete it here. Team Liquid lock it all down.
And GAM.
We already sent a few teams in quarterfinals already, as LNG, Genji, TS, HLE and T1 already advanced to the Paris stage. That means that there are only 3.
Zítra se hraje winner, loser, loser, loser. 3 hry, 3 BO3 a...
Thank you so much.
Kde je ta ženská?
This bowl contains our remaining teams with a score of 2-2 who will be competing for a spot. As a reminder, repeat matchups are not allowed in the Swiss stage, and if a team is drawn against someone they have already played, or if a draw would
Takže mi tam,
force
co tam je za ty, za týmy?
The drawn team will be moved to the next available matchup. Our 2-2 teams consist of
DK Fly, G2, Billy, Weibo, Honda.
Billy Gaming, Weibo Gaming, and Team Liquid.
Kámo, jak po piči by to tady bylo, kdyby bylo Fnatic tady aj. To by bylo actually banger series. To by bylo, tam bychom dostali podle mě 2 americký týmy proti evropským. Nick, počuj, šéfe, okamžitě tam dej G2 proti Team Liquid. OK? Niku, bráško, poslouchej mě. My chceme FlyQuest proti G2, anebo Team Liquid proti G2. Jestli vytáhneš G2, tak vole... Napřij si mě. Dej tam Weibo. Jo! Let's go! Niku, bráško! Bráška jede. Týpek je šťastný, kdyby se losovali čokolády. No, to je lepší než čokoláda. Pome, Niku, poslouchej, Niku. Vytáhni tam to G2, Niku, já vím, že to chceš, my všichni to chceme. Vytáhni tam to G2, vytáhni ho tam, hlavně tam vytáhni tu. Já to vidím, jak se usmíváš, ty už víš, že tam to G2 je, že jo, Niku, poslouchej. My to víme, ty to víš, je to ne... Kurva!
Team Liquid Honda. Now let's draw the third matchup. The first team is...
Do piči. GG, Amerika je top 8. Se nám budou smát. Niku, ty blázne, nám se Američani. Bez takto... Nick je Američan. Nick je americký jméno. Nick je americký jméno. Je to rignutý. To je Američan. Oni tam poslali Američana. Řekl bych něco na... Nebudu tam...
Billy Gaming. Here are the final matchups of the World's 2024 Swiss
Niku, ty
stage.
děvko.
Round 5 will be played tomorrow, October 13, where at least 3 teams...
Hej kámo, ale Amerika má jaký štěstí, když se podíváš, proti čemu hráli Team Liquid a FlyQuest tento rok, tak se podívej, proti čemu hráli, ale prostě tady sleduj. Oni hrajou proti Gamu Fly první, Team Liquid hrajou proti... Prostě... Kde je ten Swiss stage? Tady to vypadá divně. Ale prostě oni hrajou Weibo, pak hrajou Pain Gaming, jako WTF. Tady FlyQuest hraje PSG Talon, jako WTF. Jak to mám posunout tady, he? A pak máš Team Liquid hraje GAM Esports, jako halo. A FlyQuest hraje Hanva, OK, to je jediný, jako, ale i tak mohli, ale je to těžký. A pak máš... A teď hrajou prostě TL, hrajou FlyQuest.